Oh fuck. Ah, god damn it. Ah. Oh well. Hello chat. I forgot to put like low latency or ultra low latency on the stream just so that we're like at the exact same time, so that there's no what's it called, delays. But I forgot to do it right right after, like I clicked start stream and I was like, oh shit, change the latency, but it was too late. Let me just check. Hold on. Can you change YouTube stream latency once you've started the stream? No, you cannot. God damn it. Okay, well, whatever. We're gonna be working on a delay again, typical. Okay, so hope y'all are doing well. Exactly, there you go. Okay, I hope everything's working as well. So in today's stream, we're gonna start actually doing some real code. I'm gonna try to get some, like to teach you guys as much of the basics as possible, right? Because yes, we're still in the basics, and we might even still be doing the basics next week. And the thing is that today's stream, I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's probably gonna last longer than the last couple of streams, which were about 2.5 hours each. Today's stream is gonna be a bit longer because tomorrow is Easter, and last week I had totally forgotten that tomorrow is Easter. And so obviously I'm not going to be able to stream tomorrow, so I'm going to try to do kind of like a double stream today. So I'm going to try to show you guys as much as I possibly can. And like, you know, we're going to start getting into the nitty gritty today, right? Like last week, if we remember here, but by this point in time, I assume you guys are like familiar with the Unity editor, like which thing is which, you know, like this is the hierarchy. What does the hierarchy do? You know, the different views, what the project settings are, etc., right? What the inspector does, what a component is, right? Like the transform determines like what an object's transform is, you know, like the whole prefab thing here in the assets folder, where where like you have the different prefabs, what a child entity is, right? Like when you modify it, etc., how to create like prefab variants, like here, etc. Like I assume you guys by this point you've internalized what each of these things are, right? And then last week we did like a really basic script, which if you click once on it, nothing's gonna happen. If you double click on it, it's gonna automatically open Microsoft Visual Studio and load up the script, right? Which again, like this is zoomed in. I usually code, hold on, like this, but for the sake of the stream, I'm doing it like that. Would you guys like me to zoom in a little bit more, or is this good? Yeah, so for anybody who just joined, I'm just asking, is this zoomed in well enough, or would you like me to zoom in a bit more so you can see the code a bit better? Yes, no, maybe? All right, I'll take the silence as a yes. This is fine. A little more zoomed in would be nice. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, so hold on. This is how it was. Oh, No, that's a bit too zoomed in. Is like this better? Is like this good? Right now I'm at 130% zoomed in. So let me know if this is good. Let's zoom some more. Okay. Yeah, so right now it's at 130. Okay, that's better. Okay, perfect. All right. All right, perfect. Okay, so just to recap what like each thing is, here before you write anything, but it has to be inside the brackets of the script, which is called test, right? Because it's just like a test script or whatever. Here we have like the variables that we define ourselves, right? The blue names here are the variables, and you always write them with the first letter that's not a capital letter, but every other word in the variable itself starts with a capital letter. And the idea is that, oh, not this, is that when we click on this, it allows us to properly read, right? Like, is modifying HP is a Boolean, is here the I is in capital letters, but here it's not, right? These are just conventions, and reminder, if it's a public, there's no underscore in front of it. If it's a private variable, there is an underscore under it, right? So again, like, there are private variables, public variables. Most variables are probably going to be public, just because you typically create a variable in order for it to interact with other scripts, or for other scripts to interact with it, right? And so keeping it public is just easier that way, right? Yeah, so then you have void awake. This happens before anything else, including void start, void start. Start is called once before the first execution of update after the mono behavior is created. Exactly. A void awake is also only called once, right? So once. Exactly. And here in void start, I just decided to set these up. So here they are false, but then if I press play, is modifying HP and is incrementing HP are going to become true. Then this one is false, then true, you know, etc., because it's constantly fluctuating between 100 and minus 100, right? Like, really basic stuff, right? And then, if I remember correctly, we had ended the stream by me showing you what a list is. I'm going to explain what a list is later, as well as like all the other types of variables and stuff like that that we can use, right? Hold on, let me just open up something else that I used as a... All right, perfect. Oops. Oops, there you go. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so here we have system. Okay. Jesus, all right. Okay, perfect. All right. Hey, what's up, Russian? Hope you're doing well. There you go. Okay, so I was just recapping last week's stream, and exactly, you know, like what we did, everything. I assume things are pretty much clear for most of you guys. I assume, like, because it's very basic code, right? Like, here we created our own function, which is the modify HP function. I just wrote function at the end just because it's our first function, but like, you don't have to write function, right? This is kind of like a variable. You can write whatever you want, right? Yeah. Then we have update, which is this is called once per frame, which is about 60 times per second. That's why like when I pressed play, hold on. Yeah, this is why when I press play, this is like the numbers here are moving incredibly fast because they're moving basically 60 times a second, right? There you go. Yeah, there you go. So again, like if is modifying HP is true, do the function, right? So exactly, so this is it. So now I'm going to continue and I'm going to show you some of the other variables that I'm generally using. And then once we're done with that, we're going to start doing some actual coding. I'm going to show you like, again, some real basic stuff about coding just for you guys. Like we're going to start small, but it's just so you guys can like start to understand how things are done, right? Like how, generally speaking, how things work, right? Like whenever you're trying to code a mechanic, no matter what the mechanic is, whether it's pressing a button in the UI, like pressing the play button to start the game, or moving with WASD, or whatever it may be, right? I'm gonna start showing you guys this, and if we have time, I'd like to make some basic player controls, right? To just show like what the core basic, again, player controls looks like and feels like and everything, right? So let's start. Okay, so we have integers. Here we have floats. I assume you guys remember what they are. Oops. Integers, it's any full number, right? So it's not a decimal number, so it can go from minus infinity to plus infinity, but it's a full number, so it can't be like 0.1, 0.5, 117.278, right, or whatever. Whereas float is the exact same, but it can be decimals, right? So float can be like it goes from minus 1.0 to like minus 1.0000001, etc., right? Booleans, yeah, so here it's booleans. Okay, so any full number, not decimal. Any decimal number, and this is any variable with a true/false value. Oh fuck! God damn it! I almost sneezed, but it stopped. It's so fucking annoying. All right, so list is a variable that contains multiple values of a single type of variable, right? So we can have, hold on, I'm gonna change this to integers list. So remember, if we want to change a variable, don't just like rewrite it, right? Because now all of a sudden all of the other instances of this variable are like broken, right? Instead, what you want to do is right click, rename, whatever, boom, right? And if you don't like, you just Control Z, undo, bam. It's all the changes are undone. Then just for safe measure, you go here, file, save all. There you go, right? So here, for instance, we have an integers list, which if we go into the Unity editor, now it's compiling because I made a few changes to the code. You can see here, integers list is empty. If you click plus, now it just added an integer whose like the default value is always 0, right? And here it shows you have one element in the list, right? Here it's element 0, which means its index in the list. The index, when I say index, I mean its position in the list is position 0, which is the first position, right? And this is the tricky part with lists. It's that the first element in the list is element 0, right? The second element, if I click plus again and I add a second element whose also default value is 0, now it's element 1, but that's the second element in the list, right? So this is a tricky thing with lists. Always like the list size, let's say the list size is 7. Hold on, let me just open Paint. There you go. Here, like that. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. Let's just do it like no, actually. Yeah, actually this is good. So list oh my god. I think it was count. List count means how many elements the list has. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, red herring. They're like sets basically. It's yeah, so list count is how many elements the list has, right? And so if list count equals 7, list has 7 elements. There you go. Let's do it like that. And then here we're gonna do so first element equals 0. First element index. So again, the index is the position of the element in a list, and then last element index equals 6, right? Because it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That makes 7, right? Like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 total. But the first one is 0. The last one is 6. It's a bit confusing when you start, but that's how lists work. And trust me, guys, lists are incredibly useful. Especially in my case, because I'm making a strategy game. If you're making something like an RPG or something or like a tower defense or whatever, like depending on what genre of games you make, you might use lists more or less. But since my game is a strategy game, I'm using lists all the time, and it's like super, super useful, right? So that's how lists work, right? Then what else? Then I'm gonna add vectors, right? Vectors, which unfortunately for me, I personally think I'm not that good at explaining. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like let me know if I'm explaining things right, like if it's understandable or anything, right? But basically, vectors are a type of like float value. It's like a type of variable that contains between one and multiple floats, right? And now you might be thinking to yourself, well, hold on a minute, like what's the difference between a list made of floats, for instance, and like a vector, right? Well, the idea is that each value, like it's not an infinite number, right? Because the list, if I go back here, right, if I do like 100 elements, so if you look here, I know it's not too zoomed in, so it's a bit difficult, but basically if you look here, I'm gonna change the number of elements from 2 to 100, right? Like bam, right? I have, and again, like the last element, the 100th element, is its index is 99 because the first element is 0. Now if I go back here and I change it to 5, bam, now I have 5 elements, right? The thing with vectors is that you don't have like 100 different types of vectors, right? You have, I think, 3 or 4, or maybe like, I forget how many, because frankly, most of the time I only use vector 3s, right? So the way this works is you have like vector 1, I think. Okay, no, exactly. You don't. Well, no, exactly. You don't have a vector 1 because a vector 1 is just an integer, right? A float, I mean, sorry. So here the float I made player HP modifier F for float. That's technically a vector 1, right? Because it only has one float. A vector 2, representation of 2D vectors and points. So the reason it's called a vector, right? It's because the flow, how can I say? Hold on, let me just give you an example, right? Vector 2 vector test, let's call it, equals, and then I'm gonna put, I think, in parentheses 0 0. Oh no, because it's not. Is that how it's written? No, exactly. So I don't remember exactly how to write it, because again, like, I don't use vector 2s. Vector 2s are mostly used in what's it called? Like in 2D games and stuff like that, right? I'm not using it, and as you saw, it already like corrected me, right? So like, let's say vector 2 player position, there you go, right? And 0. Okay, so see, okay, exactly. Oh wait. Okay, I'm stupid. I think I know how to write it down. Vector 2 vector test equals vector 2 in parentheses 0 0. Okay. Or should it be new vector 2? Okay, there you go. Okay, so there you go. So now it works. Now it works. Now if I want, I can also do this, since it's floats and it's not integers. And now you might be thinking to yourself, well, what the fuck am I looking at, right? Like, what the fuck is this, right? Basically, this here, vector 2.0, is the exact same thing as this, okay? So basically, my vector test and my player position, it's the exact same. So see shorthand for writing vector 2 in parentheses 0 0, which is exactly what I wrote here, right? And when you give a vector a specific value, you always need to put new, right? If you don't put new, because it's not like the integers, the floats, the booleans, you need to put an actual value here, right? And what this is used for, right, is mainly for stuff like character movement or just object movement. So like when you shoot a bullet, the game is going to use vectors in order to move the bullet, right? Because vectors are used to interpolate between like different positions in 3D space, right? Or in this case 2D space, because it's a vector 2, right? So this here is the x-axis and this here is the y-axis, I believe. And then if I were to add a third value, it would be the z-axis, right? So if we go back here, if you look closely, right, we have the blue arrow, which is for the z-axis. We have the red arrow, that's for the x-axis. And then we have the green one, which is for the y-axis. And these things are used as a vector 3, right? So basically, okay, here in position, like in the transform, position, rotation, and scale, all three of these are vector 3s, right? So when you increment a vector 3, right? Hold on, did I save this? Okay, yeah, it's saved, but it's a vector 2. When you create a vector 3, this is kind of what it looks like, basically, right? Like this is the first value. In this case, rotation is 0 0, like 0 0.0. Y it's 0 0.0, 0 0.0, right? But if I want, I can do like 0 0.5, and like you can see it basically like it ever so slightly rotates, right? Ever so slightly. If I spam it, it looks like it's shaking a bit or like vibrating a bit, but yeah, that's the idea, right? So let me make a vector 3, which vector 3s, when you're making a 3D game, you're basically only ever going to use vector 3s. Like vector 2s are only used, or well, not only, but they're mainly used for stuff like UI and 2D games. But even with UI, it's like you're not really going to be using vector 2s for UIs, right? So in 3D games, and again, like even if you're making a 2D game like Hollow Knight is a 2D game, and yet it was made using Unity 3D, right? So it's just, hold on, let me just drink water. So you're pretty much always going to be using vector 3s, right? So now, oh yeah, okay. So this is why these two variables don't appear here. It's because I just wrote vector 2. If you don't write anything, by default it assumes it's a private variable, right? Now if I write like on the second vector, let's say vector test, I write public in front of it, right? See, first of all, now it's not grayed out anymore, right? Because this one is like grayed out. This one isn't anymore. And by the way, this one isn't like, it's not like transparent or darkened or grayed out or whatever. Grayed out is not the right term, but like it's not like less visible because it's a private variable. It's less visible because it's not being used right now, right? In the code. That's the only reason. So don't think too much about it. But yeah, basically this one I didn't put public or private in front of it, so it automatically assumes it's private. This one I manually put public in front of it. So now if we go here, see, now this vector test has appeared, right? And as you can see, it has X, it has Y, but it doesn't have Z because it's a vector 2. If I were to do public vector 3, another vector, and now equals new vector 3, and let's say 0.0. Yeah, there you go, right? And now we're, all right, there you go. Yeah, and now we compiled another vector X, Y, Z, right? So this is how vectors work, right? This is the idea behind them. And me typically, when I am making a vector variable, right? Let's say public vector 3, and we're gonna call it, let's say we want a vector 3 that is the position in 3D space of the enemy, right? So like you're a player, or no, actually I'm making a tower defense because this is gonna be really easy, right? I'm making a tower defense and my towers need to know, they need to have the position of the enemy of whatever like creature or monster or whatever enemy the tower needs to shoot, right? And so we're gonna do public vector 3 current enemy position. POS is shortened for position, because the thing is, you don't want to write every single like word, because otherwise like the variable is gonna end up being like this long, right? And like you don't want to have super long variables, because eventually like it's going to become really difficult to read your code if all of your variables are super long. So generally speaking, it's like current enemy, because enemy is not too long of a word, and then POS for position, and then what I write right after it is v3. So that way I know that this is a variable of type vector 3, right? If it was a vector 2, I would write v2, but since it's a vector 3, we're writing vector 3, and then all I do is this, right? I don't do equals new vector 3 whatever, right? Let's say this just like it auto corrected this or whatever, right? Instead of doing this, I'm just gonna do this, so it's gonna give it like these default values, right? And the reason why I'm doing this is because this is the type of vector3 that's gonna be constantly updated throughout the game, right? The moment I press play and the game starts running, every time the tower in my tower defense game is like aiming at a different enemy, it's going to what do you call it? It's going to update this variable in order to reflect the position of like its current target, right? So here I'm gonna write in the comments just to know what this does. It's this is the position of this towers, and the reason why I write this tower like that, it's my own way of doing things. It's just to know that when I write something like this, it's because to me in my mind, this signals that this script, again, this is the test script, but let's pretend I'm making a tower defense game. This would be, let's say, the tower script, right? So when I write this tower, it's the tower that this script is a component of, right? Whereas if I wrote current towers, blah, 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 this would be in a context in which I'm going through multiple towers. So for instance, I have a list, let's say public list of type game object, which this is another variable type that I'm going to show you guys after vector3 is. And let's say tower objects list equals new list of type game object, right? So if I were to go through every single tower object in this tower objects list, then in my comments I would write current tower, because current tower would refer to whichever tower I'm currently going through in the list. So is it the first tower? Is it the second tower? Is it the 50th tower? Whatever, right? So those are just, I know this is a bit abstract and everything, but these are just a few codes that I use for myself, and I'm explaining it to you guys so that you understand why, like what I mean when I write certain comments, right? Because at this point, I'm so used to writing it this way that like for the tutorials, I'm just gonna write it the way that I typically do stuff, right? So this is the position of this tower's current target enemy. Right, there you go. List containing every tower object in the game, for instance, right? So now we did vectors. I'm gonna remove these vectors here because they're useless. Yeah, so we have integers, floats, booleans, and this is float values in a vector. This is really unhelpful, but it's really difficult to describe what a vector is, like what a vector3 is in a very concise manner, right? So this here is the position of the site, blah blah blah. Okay, so now here we have game objects. Okay, so now game objects. Again, it works like all those other variables. Let's say public game object, this object, for instance. This is the game object of that contains this script. Okay, so now I've saved up. It's compiling, as you can see, right? It's compiling. Okay, there you go. Bam. So now here I have my vector3, right? If we look at the bottom right kind of side, the right hand side of the screen, here I have my integer, which is player HP, Here I have my player HP modifier. Here I have my 3 booleans for the code that works. Here I have my vector3. And here I have my game object. And here all you do, well, you can click on the little circle, like it's probably very tiny on your screens. But if you click here, now I have a list of all of the objects in my scene, right? So I can just select an object here, but me, typically what I do is I just like drag and drop, right? So let's say main camera, I'm gonna drag and drop the main camera, right? So now this game object, which is a container for a variable of type game object, well, now its value is the main camera object, right? If I want, in this object, I can take its sphere child object, or rather the child of its child object, which is the cube, and then drag and drop, and bam, I have, like, now I just changed it, right? So it's very intuitive, it's very simple, and I'm gonna show you guys what this is used for, generally speaking, right? So let's just save project. Okay, red herring. Can vectors 3 be used like pins in a board to draw modules that represent the distance between objects? So I'm not entirely sure what you mean by this, but generally speaking, the cool thing with Unity, I'm gonna show you right now, is that I remember you asked me, I believe it was you who asked me what types of resources I had regarding game dev in Unity. And at the end of today's stream, I'm going to link you guys to my Discord server. I'm just like, I was hoping I would be able to be more prepared for today's stream, but I was really busy yesterday and this morning. And so I wasn't able to properly prepare as much as I wanted to for this stream. But basically, at the end of the stream, I'm gonna finish configuring the Discord server, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat, so you guys can join the Discord server. And on the Discord server, I'm gonna start putting links to some of the resources that I'm using, right? But basically, the idea in general is Google Unity scripting API. Here you click on the first link, really. Bam, you just make sure that here at the top left, the version, it's the right version, because you have like a bunch of different versions, right? So just make sure we are using Unity 6. So here it's like 6000.0 whatever. Our version is like 0.46 F1, so it's the right version, right? So here you can do like that. Personally, then here what I do is, let's say vector 3. So then you click on the first thing, and now here it's going to show you a bunch of the different things you can do with vector 3s, right? So here's static properties. Yeah, okay, good. You've been checking. Okay, that's good. So basically, again, here it has back, down, forward, left, blah, blah. So later on during the stream, when I'm going to show you how to move a character using WASD, we're going to be using these vectors. We're going to be using forward, left. As you can see, yeah, here we have right, stuff like that. Oftentimes, instead of doing forward and back, people are going to do forward and negative forward, right? It's weird the way it works, but that's oftentimes how it's used, right? So let's say I click on vector forward, right? Here it says shorthand for writing vector 001, right? Now, what does this mean, right? Let's go back here. It means that its value on the vector is going to be, hold on, let me just show this again. It means that it's going to be vector 3 dot forward 0, god damn it, 0 0 1, which means that the gizmo here, the red arrow has a value of 0, so it's like a dot. The green arrow has a value of 0, so it's also a dot. And then the blue arrow has a value of 1. And typically whenever you're doing movement, you're basically using values like these, right? Either 0 or 1 or -1 or whatever. So the way this would look here would be, hold on, it would be like this, okay? So the green arrow is the y-axis, the red arrow is the x-axis, the blue arrow is the z-axis, right? So we're gonna do, okay, green like this. Fuck. Okay, there you go. Then red like this, right? And then blue like this, right? And so what this means, never black. And so what this means is that this here has a value of 0. This here has also a value of 0. And this here has a value of 1. Okay? Oh, fuck. There you go. Which in reality, what this ends up, what the result of this is that the vector itself is actually gonna look like this, right? That's what this vector here is gonna look like, right? If, let's say, hold on, where's the API? Let's go back. Let's have, okay, well, vector 1, right? Vector 1 is 1, 1, 1, right? So if we go back here, instead of being 0, 0, 1, it's going to be 1, 1, 1. Then a vector that's 1, 1, 1 here, right? It's going to look like this. It's going to look like that, right? So for instance, if you had a projectile whose vector was 1, 1, 1, it would be moving in this direction, right? Like the composite direction of all three of these. So if we do this, this would be 1, 1, 1 here, like that, right? Because it's 1 red, 1 green, 1 blue, so it's 1, 1, 1, right? Like, does that make sense? Similarly, let's say it's 1. So hold on. Let's say it's 1 minus 1, 1, for instance. Well, in that case, it would be like that, right? Oops. There you go. And in this case, the vector 3 would be something like that, basically. Oops. Something like that, right? Now, the perspective is bad, but basically, there you go, right? So it would be some kind of weird thing like that, like oh, hold on. Does that make sense? I hope I'm clear enough. Yes, I got that. I'll ask more some other time before the stream gets there. Okay. No, but honestly, like, ask away. Like, this is why I'm doing these live streams. It's so that you guys can ask your questions live, because the problem with like almost all tutorials online is because they're videos and they're not live streams. viewers don't get to ask their questions live. So then you're left to like figure it out on your own, and that's a big waste of time. Like that's the reason why it took me years to make my game, because a lot of this shit I had to learn it the hard way on my own, right? So this is why I'm making like these videos as live streams. It's so that people can participate live and like ask me the proper questions live. Or I guess like if you can't attend live, you look at the VODs, you can ask me questions in the VODs, and like I'll be happy to answer, right? So anyway, so this is like the idea between like for vector threes, right? Yeah, and again, like I was just using this as the Steam API. And these are like the static properties of the vector threes, right? Something else that you can use is static methods. Now, what do they mean by methods? Methods are ways in which you can, it's kind of like mathematical formulas that are pre-made for you, right? And which allows you to, basically it does all the hard work for you, right? So here you can see move towards and rotate towards, right? Here it says public static vector 3 move towards, vector 3 current, vector 3 target, float max distance, right? So what this is, let's take an example. Okay, there you go. This line of code here, am I able to? Okay, perfect. Okay, there you go. So here, transform.position. So here in the update, exactly, move our position a step closer to the target, right? So variable step, right? So what this is here is they created a temporary variable, which temporary variables are variables that you create in the code, right? So let's say here I were to create int, so a temporary variable of type int, temp int equals 0, right? And then I just do temp int plus equals 1, right? Now what the temporary variable is that it's a variable I created midway through my code. So it's not like these ones that are outside of the code. These ones are like permanent variables. That's why we can see them here. But temporary variables cannot be seen in the editor because it gets created here. And the moment this function is done, it immediately gets deleted, right? So right here, basically I create a temporary variable, I increment it by 1, and I immediately destroy it, right? So this thing might as well not exist because it's pointless. You know what I mean? But in the case of something like this, where you're like in the update, which again runs 60 times a second, the step is basically by like exactly a step closer to the target, right? So here they want to move an object a step closer to the target. So the way they're going to calculate this is that this variable, which is a temporary variable, and VAR stands for a variable of any kind, right? So this is, you just create a variable that is going to, like, it can be anything, right? It can be an integer, it can be a float, whatever, and depending on what value you give it, that's going to become the type of variable it is, right? So in this case, it's speed times time.delta time. This is kind of like a float. Speed is most definitely a float. Yeah, float, speed, blah, 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 right? So what happens here is calculate the distance to move, exactly. So step is going to be equal to the speed float times time.delta time. And for the, like, we're going to see what time.delta time is, but all you need to know is whenever you want to make something move, you have to use time.delta time. You have to add time.delta time to the equation, because this basically normalizes the movement. Because what happens is, because update is running based on the frame rates, right? Because update is running on the frame rates, but the frame rates are constantly fluctuating, they're constantly going up or down. This means that if we don't normalize it using time.delta time, your thing basically it's gonna, let's say it's gonna be moving like this. Like it's gonna, hold on, I need to zoom out, right? Let's say it's gonna be moving at this speed, then like that, right? Like it moves slowly, it moves faster, it's not gonna be it's not gonna move like this, it's gonna be moving like inconsistently, basically, right? Because its movement is gonna be based on if you don't use time.delta time, its movement is entirely gonna be based on the frame rate, right? And so if your frame rate is really high, it's gonna move like this. If your frame rate is really slow, it's gonna, or like it's fluctuating, it's gonna move like super fast, then slow, then faster, etc., right? So it's just, so that's why you use time.delta time, and it's especially useful for multiplayer games, because if you don't use time.delta time, then like shit gets real crazy real quick, right? So that's the idea behind time.delta time, but we're gonna check it like later, right? Once we start moving characters around and stuff. Then transform.position. Now here, as you can see, yeah, private transform target. So the target cylinder position, right? So here they have a private transform variable. So if we go back to our variables here, our variable types, we have transform. Exactly, Russian. You tie movement to frame rate, because all of the code, not just the movement, but all of the code is tied to the frame rate. The thing is that you don't care, like in this script here, where we're just like changing values, right? Like if you look on the right side here of the player HP, right? It's going up, it's going down. Here, this you don't need to normalize it by time.delta time, because like who gives a shit how quickly, like whether this is fluctuating or not, right? Like you don't care. But if you're making a timer in your game, because like for instance you have a level, like you're making a platformer and you have a level, and in your level it's like, oh, you have 60 seconds to reach the end of the level, or else like you like the lava wall kills you or whatever the fuck, right? I don't know, like you die basically at the end of the 60-second timer. Well, you need to normalize the timer using time.delta time, because otherwise it's also gonna fluctuate like based on the frame rate, right? So all of a sudden in 1 second you might lose 2 seconds if your frame rate is really high, right? And then after that your frame rate goes down for whatever reason, so now all of a sudden 1 second in game takes 2 seconds in real life to happen. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like, that's why you need to normalize certain things like movement, like timers, like a bunch of other stuff like that. But then like stuff like collision detection and stuff that you don't need to normalize it using time.delta time, right? It's a bit, again, like each thing it works a bit differently. Some things work the same way, but like we're gonna see step by step each of these things, right? So okay, so transform public transform test transform. Okay, so what this is, okay, is variable, hold on, transform variable of type transform contains a reference to a transform component. Okay. Okay, so whereas this, it's variable of type game object contains a reference to a object in the scene. Okay, So, so transform variable, exactly. So now we're gonna go back here. Now you see we have our transform here, right? So now let's say I'm gonna take the sphere again, okay? Because our, like this object, we have the sphere or whatever, or actually we're gonna use empty object, right? And then test transform, we're gonna use again the empty object again, right? And now, as you can see here it says empty object, whereas here it says empty object in parentheses transform. What this means is that this variable, this object variable, allows us to interact with the entire empty object. So that means we are able to interact with its transform, its box collider, its test script, and any other component it might have, right? Whereas the test transform variable allows us to only interact with its transform component, right? And as you can see here, the icon of the transform component, you have like the blue, red, green gizmo. And here it's really tiny, but here you can see the blue, red, green gizmo, right? So this is the idea, right? And this is used, as I said, to like for instance, you're making a tower defense game, or like you're making a game like Dishonored or Assassin's Creed, where like you need to sneak around people and whatever. Well, all of the NPCs are gonna use transform to get the vector 3 position of whatever it is that they're looking for. Or for instance, if they have to move a certain place or whatever. So for instance, hold on. Okay, can I look at someone playing? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, so you can see him right clicking, right? The way this mechanic is done, or let's pretend that League of Legends is made in Unity, right? So hold on, let me just get a better screenshot. Okay, perfect, right? So here he clicked, and you have like the visuals that appeared that say that like the player right clicked here, and you have his character like rotating and moving towards. Okay, so actually, hold on, let's take a screenshot of this. So, okay, so here the player right clicked. Oh, God damn it. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm just gonna do this the hard way. Okay, there you go. All right. Like that. Okay, perfect. So here the player right clicked, right? And it took him, again, let's assume League of Legends is made in Unity. What happens when the player clicks is that there is a thing called a raycast. We're gonna see raycasts probably not today, probably next week, because raycasts are a bit more complicated, and I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to see them with you guys today. But basically, there's a raycast that detects the mouse position on the screen, okay? And it basically sends out an instant beam that connects with anything on the screen, right? And so in this case, it connects with the ground. And so when the player does a right click, right, what happens is like the script that runs the player controls or whatever takes into consideration the vector 3 position, right? So remember the hold on, the vector 3 position here, right? And then based on this position in 3D space, which could be something like oh fuck, hold on, which could be something like I don't know, like 0 because it's on the ground, and let's say, so this is X, Y, and Z would be, oh, hold on, actually, I'm gonna do it like that. Do it, right, followed by 0, followed by whatever, right? Like I'm just making shit up, right? Basically, right? Like let's say this is the vector, and then it's gonna calculate the same thing. It's gonna calculate the vector position of the player, and based on that, it's gonna rotate it and then move him here, right? And so in this case, for Unity, we're gonna use rotate towards, which it's a public static blah 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 vector rotate towards vector 3 current. So that means, let's say, the player's position. Then you put in here the target position, then float max radiance delta blah blah blah. This is something else we're gonna see, but basically this is like the angle between the two of them, or no, exactly. This I think it's the max speed at which it's gonna. Okay, yeah, the maximum angle and radiance allowed for this rotation. Okay, I get it, right. So this is basically like if the angle between the two of them is larger than something, it's not gonna rotate. And then this is the max allowed change in vector magnitude. So this is basically the speed at which it's gonna rotate, right? And again, this is why the scripting API is incredibly useful, because it explains to you how everything works, right? But it's very theoretical. It's not so much, how do you call it? It's not so much practical, right? So the scripting API is the #1 resource when it comes to theoretical stuff, right? You're like, oh man, like I need a mathematical formula that's going to help me make an object move towards something else, right? So I'm gonna use this, right? Oh, I need a mathematical formula that's gonna help me rotate something towards something else. Boom, we're gonna do this, right? Today, I'm not gonna do rotations because rotations, it's incredibly complicated. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It sounds easy, but believe me, it's complicated, and this function unfortunately doesn't, it works, but not how can I say? Like it works if you want basic stuff, but if you want something much more like custom, like a very custom type of rotation, like you're going to have to create something that's a bit more manual, and the other types of resources I'm going to give you guys are going to be better. And frankly, after today's stream, once I'm going to start giving you the resources, like Game Dev Beginner, he's a British guy who, like, his videos and his tutorials are actually like the best I found online. They're incredibly good, and he, like, the way he does rotation and stuff like that is incredibly good, and he gives in his tutorials different ways you can do rotations, and that's what I've been using for my game. Like, I'm making a game, like it's an RTS, it's a sci-fi RTS, so lots of spaceships and shit like that. So in order to simulate like planets orbiting around a star and stuff like that, I've been using a lot of the mathematical equations, like a lot of the code that he shows in his tutorials, and it's incredibly good, right? But anyways, like I'm going a bit off topic. So basically, the scripting API is used for a lot of the stuff like this, right? Like, oh, how do I rotate or whatever, right? Vector 3 new direction, blah 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 blah, etc., right? Move towards, etc., right? So that's the general idea, right? So here, as I said, we have integer, a variable of type integer, of type float, of type boolean, of type vector 3, of type game object, of type transform, and here a list, and then you have the different types of lists. Like, is it an integer? Is it a game object? Is it a boolean list? Etc., right? So again, like, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just give them like on chat in the moment. Let me just see if I've checked every single type that I'm usually. Oh, okay, right. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna start getting more into the nitty gritty of coding. So I'm gonna show you the last couple of types of variables that I use, okay? And those are the variables that are probably the most important in order to make stuff happen, okay? So sorry, I'm drinking water. Okay, so we're gonna go back here at the top. These variables, since they're kind of like the most complicated ones and the most let's say the most important ones, I always put them at the very top of all of my different types of variables, right? And generally speaking, when I declare my variables, I don't declare them I don't divide them by type of variable. So like I don't do all the integers together, all the floats together. Instead, I do all of the variables that are related to the same mechanic. I put them back to back, one next to the other. And the reason for that is that here in the Unity editor, like if I have a script that's like a, I don't know, like player HP script or whatever the fuck it may be, right? I want all of my, like let's say player script, I want all of my variables related to the player movement to be next to one another here in the editor. Afterwards, I want all of my variables related to the player HP to be next to one another, right? So for instance, let's say you have a Boolean, right? You have a Boolean that says like, so let's say player stats vars, right? So public int, let's say max player HP, right? Public int current player HP, right? Public bool is player alive, right? Equals true, right? And then you can put code that like when is player alive equals false, or rather when current player HP reaches 0, make and is player alive equals, so let's put it here, right? We're gonna write code in my modify HP function. So if player, current player HP is lower or equal to 0, and is player alive equals true. Oops, there you go. Then is player alive equals false. Bam. And then let's say we make another function here that's void player death. Boom. And then player death happens if is player alive equals false. Then code happens here, right? So I did something like really quickly, but like I assume you guys were able to kind of like follow what it is that I just did, right? It's basic code. And this here, okay, is used like when you're making an if statement and you want multiple things, because all of the if statements I made here only had one condition, right? Like if player HP is greater or equal to 100, if player HP is lower or equal to minus 100, if is incrementing HP Boolean is true. Otherwise, right here, because I have two conditions, I put each condition in a parenthesis, and then I do this and this stands for and. So if this condition is true and if this one is true. If I wanted to, I could do or, right? This, right? What this means is if this is true or if this is true. And in this case, we don't want that because this means that the moment it detects that player is alive, it's automatically going to say, well, player is dead, even if the player's HP is above 0, actually. So this is why we put and, right? This is an example, right? So as I was saying, the variables I'm about to show you guys are going to be the most important ones, and they're the following. Okay, so these are, I personally call them like variables for accessing other scripts. Okay, so right now we only have a test script, right? And as you can see here, it's public class test, right? So the moment we created this script, we created in the database of our game, we created the test class, basically. So let's say that I want this script here. Yeah, oh, right, I removed all these things, so I'm just gonna delete all of this here like that. There you go. So, yeah, and let's say player that, there you go, just so that we can see this. Okay, so for now I only have one script, it's our test script, but let's say, again, we're pretending here that this script is like the whatever script, that for whatever reason this script needs to be able to access other test scripts, right? Well, what we're gonna do in this case, okay, is we're gonna create a private variable of type, because remember we have different types, right? We have integer types, we have float types, we have boolean types, vector trees, game objects, transforms, we have lists of specific types, and there are other types of variables, but these are generally speaking like the ones you're going to be using like 99% of the time, right? Now here we have private, and then the type is test, okay? So now we can have a variable of type test because we created this public class, right? So then here we have public type test, right? Oh, or private, not public, private of type test. And because it's private, we do underscore. And then here I'm doing like other test script, let's say, right? And so this allows us to get a reference for another game object test script. Okay, so basically what this means here, okay, is that let's say I have here, I'm gonna add another public game object, and it's gonna be called other test object, right? And again, like as I said, whenever I'm making an integer, I don't put anything at the end. Whenever I'm making a float, I put an f at the end. Typically when I have bools, like booleans, I put bool at the end. So again, rename bool, you know. At the end of a vector tree, I put v3. At the end of an object, I put obj at the end, right? Transform, I just put like transform at the end or whatever. And then list, I always put list at the end, right? So that way, like whenever like I'm deep in my code and everything, here immediately I know, okay, this doesn't have anything, so it's an integer. This has a bool, so it's a boolean. This also has nothing, you know. Oh, this has an f, so it's a float, etc., right? And so the idea here, okay, is that let's say at the very start, so like here in our void start, we're going to access like the test script, okay, of the other test object, okay? So here what we're gonna do is underscore script, so other test script, there you go, equals, so remember when we do equals, that means we're updating the value of whatever variable we're currently like using or whatever, right? So now here I'm gonna do equals other test object dot, and you can see it's already like filling it in for me, but basically get component. Here you can see get component, double click it and it's gonna fill out on its own. Then here of type test, we do the parentheses, semicolon, bam. So now, since I've done this at the start, which is like this start is called once before the first execution of update, blah, blah, blah. This typically you want to do it in start, not in awake, because if you do it in awake, let's say this object might not have the component or whatever, in the sense that if you have another script that gives that, let's say that has to spawn this component or whatever, it might complicate things a bit, right? So generally speaking, I do it in start just because it's safer, it's easier. Hello chat, Ninja Gaiden almost made me put my control through what I missed. Yeah, so basically, Xeno Chimera, I've been going through the different variable types, right? So like after I'm done with the last two variables, I'm just gonna recap real quick. But you can basically watch the first like hour and 15 hour and 30 minutes to see like all the different variables, what they mean, how they're used, and everything. Okay, but basically the idea is this variable here now, because we've set it up by giving it a value which is specifically, this variable is a variable of type test, which means that this variable contains it's a reference, again, like it's a reference to another game object's test script, right? So, and now that I've set it up properly, what this means is that this now I can use, let's say here, let's say in the player death script, let's say we're gonna do other test script dot player HP equals 0, right? So now with this private variable, I am able to influence the player HP of another, like of basically of the other test object's test script, right? So this basically is what happens when, let's say you have like in a tower defense game, right? The tower, hold on. So let's say or like, okay, in League of Legends, right? Like you have this character here, right? Who does a big damaging thing on this character and makes them lose HP, right? Well, this is how it happens, right? The game like this, again, let's pretend League of Legends was done in Unity. This guy here does an ability, the ability connects with this other hero, and it goes into this hero script. It takes the HP variable and like removes like however much damage, right? So this is generally speaking how it works, basically. Now the other two things I'm gonna show you guys is the following, okay? It's a type of variable that's similar to this variable here, okay? That is, because this variable here gives us access to how can I say, it gives us access to another object script of type test, right? That's basically what it does, right? But what if let's say I have a universal script, okay, that basically or rather let's say that the test script here is a universal script, right? So that means that I only have one instance of it, right? It's not like a bullet script that like if I'm making like a first person shooter, I'm gonna have hundreds if not thousands of bullets flying through the screen at the same time, right? Instead, let's say it's the player controller script, and like it's a single player game, like God of War, for instance, right? Well, in this case, you only need one single player script, right? You only have one instance of the player script, so you don't need to create this in any other script or whatever, because we know for a fact that there's only one single instance of this script, right? In this case, you're gonna do public, okay, static, okay, and then we're gonna do test, and we're gonna call it test instance. And in this case, you're putting everything in caps, okay? And then we're gonna do get set private like that, right? Boom, okay? So now what this means is that instead of needing to do like the other test script equals other test object, blah, 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 all you have to do is, hold on. Yeah, it's to do, hold on. All you have to do is other test script equals test dot test instance, bam, there you go. Now obviously in this case there's no point in doing what I just did because there's only one test script, and here it's like referencing itself, right? So this is why this is like kind of grayed out, because in this instance all I can do is just this, but like after this segment, in about 5 or 10 minutes, once I start showing you guys how to do proper code, like then we're gonna see, like, because we're gonna start creating multiple scripts, and in this case, like you're gonna see like what the purpose of this is, right? So so the last thing I want to show you guys is going to be how to create an enum. Okay, it's a type of variable of type enum, right? It's a custom variable, or rather I'm just gonna say enum, custom variable that contains custom values. Okay, so, and this is probably the most complicated of all of these, okay, of the different types of variables, and it requires a bit of setup for it to work, okay? But basically it's as follows, okay? You do public enum, okay, so it's of type enum, and enum basically stands for like enumerable or enumeration, something like that. I forget which one is which, but the idea is you create your own type of variable and you immediately give it a certain number of values, okay? And the usefulness of this is for stuff like hold on, I'm gonna give you guys an example, okay? I'm gonna erase this just so that it doesn't give us an error, okay? Let's say you have game modes, right? You want to have different game modes in your game, and when the player presses like the pick your game mode button or whatever the fuck, right? They're gonna have, so hold on, so let me just go back here. Or actually, no, League of Legends. Legends game modes. League of Legends. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so here we have like the different game modes, okay? So let's say you want the player to click on this or this or this or this or whatever, right? Well, you can do it the really ghetto way, okay, which is that you're gonna do a public integer called game mode, right? And give it a value of, let's say, -1. And then here you're gonna do 0 equals main menu, 1 equals game, I don't know, let's say quick match, 2 equals ranked, 3 equals PvE, for equals whatever, right? You can do it this way, but it's really not intuitive, right? Like it's really not intuitive, because then like whenever you're gonna be coding, you're like, wait, game mode, like I don't know, like for instance, let's say void change game modes, right? And you're gonna do if, basically what you're gonna have to do is if game mode equals 0, let's say do blah blah blah, right? Or like code goes here, right? But then what you have to do is constantly remind yourself game mode 0 equals what's it called, main menu, for instance, right? Or something like that. Like it's super not intuitive, right? It's really not intuitive, right? So instead, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create an enum, right? And you're gonna put it public because you're gonna wanna, well, you can put it private if it's only ever gonna be used inside this script, but typically you create enums. Like enums are the types of variables that are very complex, in the sense of like the meaning behind them is very abstract or very complex, like a game mode, for instance. And typically those types of variables are used in different scripts, right? And so what you're gonna do is, let's say a public enum, right? Okay, there you go. And then we're gonna give it a name. So in this case, it's gonna be game mode. And again, because it's an enum, it's all in capital, like the first letter is a capital letter. And because it's public, there's no underscore in front of it. And then you do this, right? So what did we say? Main menu, right? And here you're creating one of the potential values of the enum, right? So you can't do main menu like that, right? See, it's giving an error. It has to be like that. Okay, so main menu. And these ones, once again, you can do them starting in caps, right? Because they're like custom variables. Okay, so let's say main menu, quick match, ranked PvE, other, let's say, I don't know, right? Bam. And now we're done. Okay, bada bing bada boom, right? Okay, and then what you're gonna do, right? Or actually, let's put none here at the start. Okay, there's no game mode, let's say, right? And then immediately afterwards, what you want to do is as follows: another public, but this time of type game mode. Okay, so basically here you create the enum. Okay, so this is kind of like the thing that holds the data, right? This is basically like what, it's kind of like the prefab, right? This is like the prefab of the variable, of the custom variable you just created, right? And it holds all of the potential values it can have. And then this is an instance of a game mode variable, okay? And then here you give it a name, which is current, game mode, right? And then you're just gonna do get set private, get private set, I mean, and then equals game mode.none. Bam. There you go, right? So then the last thing you need to do, okay, is create a function that's going to allow you to automatically change the game mode, let's say, right? So let's say here, public void set game mode, right? And then here in parentheses, you're gonna do game mode, new game mode, okay? So now, what the fuck is this, right? As we've seen before, these are functions. Code happens inside functions, and we can call the functions in update, like with all sorts of if statements, but we can also technically call functions inside of other functions. Like let's say here, here we can do player death. There you go. So this means that at the very end of this, or like let's say actually change game modes function here, right? Whatever, right? Now we're gonna remove this and and this variable here, because like this is not what we want to be using. We want to be using this one that we've created here, right? So we're gonna remove this, and we're gonna remove this entire function here, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it properly, right? There you go. Okay. So here, what we have is a public function. Now, as you can see, all of the parentheses here are always like there's nothing in the parentheses, right? Now, what is inside of this parentheses here, okay, is a temporary variable. So remember, as I said, like temporary variables are variables we create and they disappear the moment we finish the type of code that we're in. So for instance, this temporary variable is automatically created at the start of this function and it's automatically deleted at the end of this function. So like code, so hold on. So new game, oops, Jesus Christ, I can't write. New game mode is new game mode temp variable is created here. Code, more code, at the very end, new game mode temporary variable is. The reason why we wrote something here in parentheses is because in the code that I'm about to do, right? It's going, like you'll see, basically it's going to be easier if I show you guys, like if I show you guys and like I explain it as I go along with it. Okay, so remember what I did here. Okay, first I created the enumerable, or enum. I always call it enumerable, but I don't know if that's the actual word. Like the enum, I created the enum called game mode, and it contains one of these values here, right? It's not receiving enough video, blah, blah, blah. By the way, let me know, guys, if the stream quality is all right, if I'm buffering or anything like that. Just let me know. But yeah, so as I was saying, here I created the public enum called game mode, okay? These are the potential values it can have, but at any given point in time, it's gonna have only one of these values, right? And here it's one instance of this type of variable, right? Called current game mode. And when I create it, I simply set it to this value, which is like there's no game mode, right? Now here, what I'm gonna do is reference current game mode, okay? And I'm gonna do, well, actually, yeah, it already knows what I want to do, right? Bam. So current game mode equals new game mode, right? And then all I'm gonna do is here a debug.log. Oops. Game mode. As you can see, I'm kind of like, I'm basically copying the code that I'm using in my own game. But I'm doing it like a bit, like I'm just modifying a few things and simplifying it a bit for you guys to understand, right? But like what I'm showing you right now is exactly how I'm doing the game modes in my game, for instance, right? So here we have debug.log, game mode changed to bada bing bada boom, right? And this here, this line is, this type of stuff is very useful, okay? To allow us to make sure our code works. What this does here is that here when we're in the console, it's gonna put a message up and it's gonna show us like whatever message we wrote here. So it's gonna say game mode changed to new game mode. So it's gonna give us whatever value this is, right? And since this is It's a game mode variable, and a game mode variable is an enum whose value is one of these things. And these things, as you can see, these are words. It's gonna give us exactly those values, right? It's gonna, like, if the current game mode is main menu, it's gonna be main menu. If it's ranked, it's gonna be ranked, etc., right? So this is how this works. Now the thing is, as you can see, this variable here, right, is let's say like it's not inside the update, it's not inside the late update or whatever, so technically it's not gonna happen, right? So what I'm gonna do, okay, is create, let's say, another function here called player changes game mode, let's say, and here I'm going to create a couple of more booleans. Again, it's really simple, but typically what you want to do is like incorporate the UI into this, like players, like I showed here, like the player clicks on a button, and him clicking on the button is going to send information to the script and tell it to change a few variables and do a bunch of stuff, right? But for now, we're going to keep it simple. So public boolean, and I'm going to say new game mode is main menu. Again, this is what I mean when I say like you want to avoid having like stupid names like these for a variable, right? But like we're just gonna keep it simple for now. Like we're doing it a bit ghetto, but like it's for the sake of keeping things simple and like understandable, right? Like and I hope it is understandable for you guys, right? So public bool new game mode is quick match false. Public bool new game mode is ranked is false. Public bool new game mode is PvE is false, and public bool new, yeah, there you go, perfect. Okay, right? And now what I'm gonna do here, okay, is if new game mode is main menu bool equals true, right? Else if new game mode is quick match equals true. Else if new game mode is ranked equals true. And again, there are way more elegant ways of doing this, but I'm just doing this like in the most brain dead simplistic way, just for it to be as clear as possible, right? If new game mode is other, I think that's all of them, if I remember correctly. So other PvE ranked quick match and bool other PvE ranked quick match. Okay, main menu. Okay, perfect. So what we're gonna do here now is we're gonna do set game mode. Bam, there you go, right? So here it's set. Oh wait, I don't need to do this. I'm fucking stupid. Holy shit. I complicated my life for no reason. Well, actually, okay, no. This is just however you want to do it. Basically, you can either just copy paste this into the update, right? Like that. Or, well, actually, yeah, that's how I'm going to do it, basically. I'm going to keep it like that here. I'm going to remove this. Or all you could do is just, well, yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do player changes game mode. There you go. like that, right? So this function here is always going to be running no matter what. And then when you go inside the function, we can do this, right? So I hope this is clear. Again, like now we're getting into more the nitpicky stuff of like who prefers how to code it. Like this doesn't really matter, right? It's just a question of preference. So game mode dot so game mode dot, this is quick match, so quick match, boom. And now we're just gonna copy paste it just to save time. Here's gonna be ranked, here's gonna be PvE, here's gonna be other, whatever, right? So just to recap everything I just did so that it's all a bit clearer. First, we create an enum because we want a type of custom variable with custom values, right? The name of the enum is game mode because in this case, we want to create the different game modes for our game, right? And here are the different types of game modes. Here I put none just as the default, but as you can see here in my code, it doesn't allow us to pick no game mode. Then here we create an instance of this type of variable because here we create the type of custom variable, and here we create an instance of this custom variable called current game mode, right? Which initially we set it to none, and then here in the public void set game mode function, we automatically set the current game mode variable to this one, to new game mode. And this one is another instance of a variable of type game mode whose value, okay, so this thing here, this thing's value gets changed here, right? So here when you see set game mode, because here's an example, right? Here I want the update to run this function, right? But there's nothing written in the parentheses because there's nothing written here either, right? But here, and for this function, there is something written in the parentheses, right? And so when I write this, what this means is here, it's as if I'm doing, it's the same thing as if I did new game mode. Well, okay, it doesn't exist because it's a temporary variable, but it's as if I did like new game mode equals like game mode dot, let's say ranked, for instance, right? So basically this here is the same thing as doing this, right? So when new game mode is ranked equals true, then you run this function once and you immediately update the value of this to be equal to this, right? So what ends up happening, it's as if you're doing this, right? Like when you run this, it's as if you're running this code. When you run this, it's as if you're running this code. When you run this, it's as if you're running this code. You see what I mean? So this is how enums work, and like they're super useful, they're super powerful, right? And the last thing I'm gonna do, right, is add one other thing. So here it's update game mode. I'm gonna do it like that. Again. Bada boom, bada boom. And then here we're gonna be reset this bool, let's say. So is main menu bool equals false. There you go. So now what I'm gonna do is, oh fuck. There you go. There you go. There you go. And again, this is a very like simplistic, very like suboptimal way of doing things. I'm just doing it this way to make it as clear as possible, right? And now here we're just gonna replace these ones here. There you go. There you go. So what happens is that if this variable, this boolean is true, right? Oh, hold on. This is the only one I'm going to change. I'm going to rename all of these to also have boolean because I forgot to do it. right? There you go. There you go, right? So if this Boolean is true, run this once and then immediately put this back to false, right? So now let's look at the code, right? Error invalid term. Oh, Jesus Christ. What did I? Oh, fuck. Okay, it's because of the plus here. There you go. I made a mistake. Okay, there you go. So now everything should be fixed here. Let's go into, let's wait for it to compile. Okay, boom. There's no errors. So now what's going to happen is, here if you look on the right hand side, you have like these 5 new booleans that I've created. Basically what's going to happen is whenever I click any of them, here the console is going to tell us like what the new game mode is, right? So like if we go here, it's going to say game mode changed to, boom, right? And it's immediately going to go back to being false, right? So let's press play. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, so what is the error giving us here? Ah, player death. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, because this is, all right. I should have just, I forgot to remove this. Yeah, now it shouldn't be giving us an error because, okay, so what happened here, hold on. Let me just give you an example, okay? What happened here is that this is accessing the test script. Hold on. This is accessing the test script of our other object. Well, first of all, it was accessing this and then this. And what happened is that when it's accessing this, right, we need another test object. But as you can see here, I don't have any test object. So what it's saying is object reference not sent to an instance of an object, right? So if I keep the code here, but all I do is do this, now it shouldn't be giving us an error. There you go. Now it's not giving us an error. However, if let's say I change it midway through with the camera object doesn't have a test script, right? Oh, well, actually, hold on. This is not going to change shit. What I need to do is change it preemptively, right? Now it's going to give us the error again. Except, so now here it's giving us the same error, but the error actually means something different. What it means is we have another test object, but it doesn't have the component test. And so we can't set this, like we can't give any real value to this, right? We can't like put it as a reference of anything, right? So in any case, I'm just gonna player death. I'm just not gonna run player death. And this here, I'm gonna, just for simplicity's sake, just gonna do it like this. Whatever, there you go. Okay, so but let's go back to what we were doing. So now there are no errors. So now here, if I press this once, it's immediately gonna go back to false. Like you're barely gonna be able to see it become true, and it's gonna tell us here that it changed game mode, right? Or it's not, because it's not working because I'm a retard. Okay, so what the fuck is the issue here now? Oh, I'm fucking stupid. It's because it's because I removed the wrong function. Jesus Christ. All right. Rookie mistakes. Yeah, I'm a professional. I swear to God, I'm a professional. Jesus Christ. Bro, the number of times I make mistakes like these, you'd be shocked at how many times. Okay, so now in theory, when I press this, there you go. See, like it barely, like you can't even see it get checked, right? And it says it's like, it tells us like, oh, PV, oh, now we're going quick match, now we're going ranked, Now we're going back to main menu. Now we're going other. Now we're going PvE, right? Etc. Right? Now we're spamming ranked, whatever, right? So that's the idea, right? That's how you do like different game modes or different things like that, right? There you go. Okay, so now the stream's been going for 2 hours almost. I'm getting really hungry because I haven't eaten anything since last night, and I've shown you a fair bit of different things. So now what I'm thinking of doing is I'm gonna show you a couple of other things. Yeah, because tomorrow there's not gonna be any stream. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna do some very basic player controls. We're not gonna do camera controls because that's gonna be a bit more complicated, but we're gonna do some very basic player controls. And then what we're gonna do is a very basic, I think, collision script that just detects collision, basically, right? So just to show you guys like some basic stuff, and then we're gonna end the stream by me like giving you the link to the Discord server where we're gonna have like all of the different where I'm gonna add resources and stuff like that, right? And yeah, okay. So let's do this. Let me just go back to my game, like the real game I'm making, to remember, because I haven't done player controls in a while, because like I basically, when I redid my game from scratch in November of 2024, the first thing I did was the player controls, and I haven't really touched them since because I haven't needed to touch them since. So I'm just a tiny bit rusty because I haven't done this in a couple of months. So I'm just gonna go back to check how it is that I did. Okay, player movement manager. Okay, there you go. Right. Okay, perfect. Transform that position. Okay. So here in our scripts, let's create a new script. So now we're not going to be doing test scripts anymore. Now we're going to be doing real scripts, right? Like now that I've shown you guys the basics, like we're going to start doing some real shit, right? And next week, but basically what I want from you guys is like, if you want, you can start like fucking around in Unity, like especially once I'm going to give you a bunch of resources, like some of the cool tutorials, right? And then what I would like for you guys is to like in the comments in the VOD, if you want, or on the Discord server, whatever, you can always ask me questions at any point in time, but you can also like give me ideas of certain mechanics you would like for me to explore on my next streams, right? So I don't know, like maybe one of you guys wants to make a tower defense game. So you would be like, okay, well, how do I do a tower defense game, right? Like, how do I do the mechanic where like I can put my towers wherever my cursor is, or like, oh, I want to do a MOBA, right? Like how do I do controls where I right click on the ground and my character moves where I tell them to move, or whatever, right? So give me whatever mechanics you want me to do, and I'm gonna make them to the best of my abilities. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna delete this, and now I'm gonna remake it properly. All right. And so the idea behind these game dev streams now is that it's basically going to be like prototyping sessions where like I'm gonna show you guys how to quickly prototype certain mechanics, right? Because again, I'm making a strategy game right now. So if like you ask me how to make, I don't know, like a game like God of War, like that has the same types of controls and gameplay mechanics, I'm probably going to be able to do it, but it's kind of going to be the first time I do it. So like what I'm going to do on screen is going to be more of a prototype. but it's going to give you a good idea of like what exactly you're trying to go for, right? So here we go. We right click in our assets, in our scripts folder, then mono behavior script. And now we're gonna give it, I'm gonna call it player manager. Okay. So a good rule of thumb that I have is whenever you're making a single instance of a script, so remember like a singleton, right? Because this is what this is called. It's a singleton. When you have a single instance of a script, you create this by putting this line in. You transform this script into something called a singleton. Hold on, let me. What we call a singleton equals single instance a script. It means there's only one of its kind. In other words, only one of its kind, right? So, right. So here we just created the player manager. Whenever you know you're gonna have a script there's only ever gonna be one instance of it, right? I call it a manager. So for instance, in my game, I have a game manager that manages the entirety of the game, but then I have other sub-managers that manage the different parts of the game. So I have a UI manager that all it does is make sure that that all of the UI works. I have a battle manager that manages, like, once I'm in a battle in my game, it's the script that makes sure that all the units get spawned, that the score system is counted, that like the game, the battle starts, that the battle ends, right? That the battle timer is working accordingly, right? Then I have a player input manager. In this case, I'm just doing player manager just because the reason why I called it a player input manager is because my game, since it's a strategy game, it's kind of different from a game like Overwatch or League of Legends or whatever. So in this case, the player is only doing inputs, but he's not controlling a player character, right? In the game, in the prototype rather, I'm currently gonna show you in our game dev tutorials, I'm gonna be making an actual player character, so that's why I named this player manager, right? So we double click it, it opens, and now, hold on, we're gonna start copy pasting a lot of the values that we have, right? So I'm just gonna keep things here, right? Basically, I'm just gonna copy paste all of this here to keep it simple. Boom. Okay. Right, because we're not here to waste time. So what I'm gonna do is public static of type player manager, and it's going to be, hold on, player manager instance. Yeah, there you go. Okay. For now, we're not gonna have anything here. Player enum. For now, we're not gonna have anything here. Okay. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna do this like that. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna remove all of this. Okay. And as I said, the way I'm doing my variables is that here, if I have a singleton, I do it at the very beginning. Here, if I have other script, like variables for accessing other scripts, I put them here. And then afterwards, I start doing all of my variables together based on what mechanic I'm going to be doing. So in this case, we're going to do player controls or player movement. So I'm just going to do player movement variables. There There you go. Now I'm just gonna copy paste the code that I have in my own game, right? There you go. Exactly, so these are booleans, right? Move forward, move left, move backward, whatever, whatever. I didn't put bool at the end, but like you can do it, you cannot. I just decided not to because I didn't really care, but like of all the conventions, I always put F behind my floats. I always do stuff. Boolean is the only one where if it's obvious, like move forward, this I know it's a Boolean, right? But if it's something a bit more obscure, like the name is a bit more ambiguous, that's where I put bool just to be safe, right? So it's on a case-by-case basis, right? Okay, so then if I remember correctly, we have player movement manager. Okay, so this right here is what I did. So here we're gonna have void player movement, let's call it manager, boom, like that. And now as you can see here, in my game I have the player object, but here it's giving me an error. Why? Because I didn't create this variable yet, right? So core player variables. We're gonna have public game object player object, right? This is the object that is controlled by the player. Okay. And now that this exists and that this here exists, we're just gonna come here, and this is the type of function that we want to work always, all the time. So player manager, boom. Oh, fuck's sake. Player movement manager, there you go, right? And there you go. Here we have move forward, etc., etc. Now this code right now does not work, right? And first of all, I'm also going to explain what each of these lines of code does, but just so you know, this doesn't work right now. This is not, or rather, like it works if I check like, oh, move forward is true or whatever, right? But we want this to work when we're doing like WASD, right? And then E and Q is to go up, to go down, etc., right? But right now, I still haven't put in the code that detects the player's input using WASD, Q, and E, and stuff like that, right? So instead, what I'm gonna do is show you how to do that code. But before that, I'm just gonna explain what each line of code does. So here we take the player object, right? So remember, this is a reference to the object. So hold on, I'm just gonna create 3D object, a plane. This object here, we're gonna make disappear for now. This one, we're gonna put it at the very center of the screen. We're gonna expand the plane by 1.5, 1.5, or actually no, we're gonna keep it at 1. Okay, and then here right click, create object, let's say a cube, player object, and then we're gonna drag and drop this into it. And now as you can see, we have our player manager. Currently the player movement speed is 0, so the player is just not gonna move. And what we can do here is just drag and drop the object. But at the same time, since the player manager script is already attached to the player object, I don't necessarily need to do this, right? So let's say Control Z. So now this is null, there's no object assigned to it. All I can do is here in void start, do player object equals this dot game object. Bam, right? And even here it says that the this, I could technically remove it, but I prefer doing it this way just because it's more obvious, right? So set up player object variable. There you go, right? And what it does here is, as I said, we have a reference to this game object, which is this game object here, right? And because we have a reference to the game object, I automatically also have access to every single component that is attached to the game object, okay? So what I did here is I did player object. So now we have a reference to this variable, which is the player object. Dot, when you put dot, that means you're gonna access a component of the object, right? Or like, for instance, if we go back to here, right? When you do like game mode dot, that means you're accessing this variable, and the dot allows you to access one of its values, right? So it's kind of it's always the same idea. Whenever you see something dot something else, right? Like game mode dot main menu or player object dot blah blah blah, that means that here we get access to the reference of the player object. And dot means we then go inside the player object and we reference the transform component. And then dot means we go inside the transform component and we get access to its position value, which is this here, right? Position value. So let's put it back to 0, 0, 0, or like 0 0.5 or whatever. Yeah, like 1, not 1, 0, whatever, right? So as I said, we get access to the player object, we go to the transform, like we then get access to its transform component, and inside of the transform component, we get access to its position value, right? Yeah, exactly, red herring, similar to the address, exactly. And then here, what we did was it's a simple, it's like the most simple shit, right? You do plus equals, so reminder, right? Plus equals is it means that whatever we put after this is added to the already existing value. So the reason why we do plus equals instead of just equal is that if we do equal, it's gonna teleport, right? The player is gonna teleport, whereas if we do plus equals, it's gonna be a smoother movement, right? And then what we do is transform, right? So yeah, the transform attached to this game object, right? So the transform is one of these like innate, let's say, variable / components that is automatically, like every script has it, right? And as you can see, it's an automatic thing. It just says the transform attached to this game object. So in this case, public a player object dot transform could be the same as transform, right? In my case, for instance, in my game, the reason why I have this and then this, it's because my player input manager is not attached to the player object because I don't have a player object in my game because it's a strategy game. Instead, here the player object is basically my camera object, or rather it's like an object that the camera is attached to. And so I'm moving the object that the camera is attached to, but then I also have like another camera object and another line and another like function that allows me to change the rotation of the camera so that like it so it's much more complicated and everything. All you need to know is this thing is an innate thing, but it's specific to the game object the script is attached to. So in this example, this is the same as this, but that's not always the case. That's all you need to remember, right? Here, when I do dot forward, okay, what this means is that we get access to the transform of the object that this script, that the player manager script is currently attached to. And the dot forward means that we are creating a vector 3 of type forward. So if we go back to the API, right, here we have like the different vectors, right? Here you have forward. Forward is shorthand writing for vector 3001. So that means, if we go back to here, it means this. It means a vector that's only gonna go in this direction, in the forward direction, right? Now, when we're talking about movement, you have world movement. So as you can see, the forward is always gonna be in this direction. The right is always, so like if I do, no, not this. Okay, like that. Oh, fuck's sake. Okay, there you go. So basically, like you have the world values and the local values, right? So here's an example, okay? I'm gonna move the player object here and I'm gonna rotate it, okay? So now its forward is facing this way, its right is facing this way, its left is facing this way, its back is facing this way, its top is facing that way, and its bottom is facing that way, right? Up here in the scene, you can see it's written local, right? If I click this and I put global, oh, all of a sudden, what happened? The gizmo is facing a completely different way. Why? Because these are the global values, right? Its position, right, is based on its globe. This is its global position, right? Like right now I'm moving its position, and if you look at the top right, you know, it's its position is moving, right? So right here I'm moving it forward, right? Yet its local forward is here. But if I move it like that, as you can see, its Z and X axis are moving, right? So the reason for that is because local refers to the object, like the vectors, like this vector 3, right, of movement based on the object itself. But the global refers to its real position in the real world, right? And so basically when you want the player to move, you want the player object to move based on like its forward, the forward of the player, not the global forward. Because what this means is that if the player is rotating here and I press W and it's set to global, the player is always going to move this way if I press W. Even if the player is facing this way, right? I press W, basically my player is going to go backwards, right? So that's why like things are local, and here you press it just to look, right? But this doesn't affect the code, right? This is just for you to look at the way things are basically, right? So there you go. We're gonna reset everything to normal, and we're gonna go back here. So here, transform.forward returns a normalized vector representing the blue axis of the transform in world space, okay? So times, oops, forward, and then multiplied by the move speed, and then time dot delta time, because as I said, this is to normalize the movement, right? So basically what this means here is that my player character is only ever gonna move up, down, like, or rather forward, backward, right and left, right? And these here are, these are controls that work for a strategy game like mine, right? But obviously if you're making a game like League of Legends or whatever, that's not exactly what you want. So hold on. So basically my game is gonna run like, okay, there you go. Let's say, right? So my game is kind of gonna function like this, right? Like as you can see, the player isn't moving the character based on where his cursor is pointing. Like his character is facing where his cursor is pointing, but they're moving using WASD for anybody who's unfamiliar with this game, right? So the idea is right now my character is going to move the same way, but as I said earlier, it doesn't read the player's inputs right now, right? So instead, what I'm going to do, hold on, where was my player inputs? Ah, okay, there you go. There you go, there you go, there you go. Okay. So now I'm just gonna copy paste my code from my game because this is like really, really simplistic stuff, right? But basically, what I do for my controls is void, or rather late update, there you go. And are all of the players controls. Player controls. There you go. Okay, so this is a lot of stuff that I pasted in. Basically, okay, here you do an if statement. So here it's W key pressed, A key pressed, S, D, E, and Q, right? And there you go, like move forward, blah, blah, blah. If I click move forward here, and here basically it says if the player has pressed the W key or is pressing the W key, move forward is true. Otherwise, move forward is false. Very simple, right? And then here it says if move forward is true, blah, 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 right? And so the idea is this is like the old method of doing player input. I'm still using it. I'm probably eventually going to transition to the new method of doing it. It's just that I haven't had time to practice the new method because as I've said, like I've done these controls like half a year ago and I haven't touched them since. But the idea is the new method is much more versatile, but it's a bit more complicated to do, right? But like it's not very complicated, it's just different, right? And I'm not used to it, so yeah. So basically here what it does is it's a class called input. Yeah, the legacy input system, exactly. Then dot get key. So here's an example, right? If input, wait, what? Okay. See, this is the autocorrect, sometimes it does weird shit. Okay, so if input dot get key, and then in parentheses key code dot, I don't know, let's say F, for instance. There you go. Something happens. Okay. This is right. And here, when we say like key code, it's because each key has like its own code, right? And the way you can see, hold on, let's wait, is if we go here, I think it's in Windows, or no, wait, is it in tabs? Add a tab. No, not this. Was it in window? Because basically it's called the input manager. Asset manager, analysis, no. So I think it's here. Was it project settings? No. Fuck, where was it? Was it in project settings? Oh yeah, input manager. Okay, there you go. Axes, blah, blah, blah. Use physical keys, exactly. So here you also have axes. So let's say mouse X, mouse 1. Damn, like this has changed since the last time I've used it. Okay, no, okay, there you go. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Exactly. So fire 1, fire 2. Exactly. This is for like joysticks or whatever. You have like mouse 1, mouse 2. Yeah, exactly. So alternate positive button, mouse 0. So mouse 0 is right click. Mouse 1, I believe, is left. No. Mouse 0 is left click. Mouse 1, I think, is right click. And mouse 3, I believe, or mouse 2, I believe. So fire 3, mouse 2 is it's the middle mouse button. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. as I said, it's been a while since I've used it, and this is the old method. So eventually, probably when I transition my game into the new method, I'm probably going to make another game dev stream where I'm going to show the new method, right? But that's the general idea, right? And so here you're getting like the key code for F, right? And etc. So now what we're gonna do here, okay, is we're going to add, I can technically add the camera as a child of the player object, right? Or what I can do is create an empty object, let's say player, player objects, then put this here, put this POV, yeah, hold on, so we're gonna do this like that, we're gonna do this like that, we're gonna do this like that, okay? So here we have the player object, and what I'm gonna do is the player manager script, I'm gonna hold, and I'm gonna drag it to the player, actually not player objects, player manager. There you go. That's what I'm gonna do. So this is an empty object with this, right? And now here I have nothing technically. And here I have the camera, and I'm gonna move the camera like that. Oh wait, no. There you go. Like this, we're separating them. There you go, that's what I wanted to do. So we're gonna do this like that. Let's say we're gonna move it to 5, -5 maybe, or actually 2.5. Let's see, what does it look like? Looks kind of like shit. It looks kind of like shit. Okay, 1.5. Let's see this. Nope. Okay, so like that maybe. So like 1.25 -2. Then we're gonna do maybe like that, right? So let's say 10 degrees. Okay, there you go. That should be fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to do over the shoulder, but honestly, like we're gonna keep it like, let's pretend this is like a racing car or whatever. Who cares, right? And then here maybe I can like even make it a bit further out. Maybe like that. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So now, here you go. Let's do this. Now it's compiling everything. And now when I press WASD here on the right, you're gonna see everything's moving, like up or down is Q, up is E, forward is W, backward is S, left is A, right is D, right? But nothing's moving because the speed is 0. Let's put the speed at 1, right? See, now we're moving. If you can see, right? Now we're actually moving up, we're moving down. If I put it to 100, we're gonna zoom through the screen, right? Like we're going absolutely crazy, right? And then if I click this, we're going back to the original. Now, obviously, there's no rotation because I haven't done rotations yet, and I'm not gonna do it yet because that's more complicated. And as I said, like I haven't eaten in like 18 hours, so I'm getting a bit hungry. So like I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna do collisions next. I'm gonna show you some basic collisions, just to give you guys an idea, and then I'm gonna finish setting up the server, and I'm gonna give you guys the link to the server, and in the server I'm gonna start putting the resources I have, and then next weekend where it's going to be a normal weekend where I'm going to do a normal Saturday and Sunday stream, then we're going to start doing like cooler stuff, right? Yeah. Exactly. So, because again, like the thing is, in my game, the controls I did here are perfect for my game because the way it works, okay, is that I have here, oh, hold on. Let's put that 5. Yeah, okay, there you go. So I have like the controls like that for my camera, but I also made controls that allow me to rotate my camera however I want, as if I'm playing a first-person game, right? And so this kind of it's like a flying camera. Like, I don't know if any of you have played Halo Forge, right? In case some of you have not. Fuck, not this. Oh, Jesus. All right. Is it? Okay, there you go. Well, this is like sped up. This is a time lapse, but this shows you, right? So the camera in my game kind of works similar to that, right? Like you can move around, you can like fly through the screen. So hold on. Is it? Yeah, there you go. So you can like move through the screen and everything like that, right? But because right now, for the sake of this these tutorials, like I don't have, like I can make the proper controls and everything, but it's gonna take some time and whatnot. So for now, like this is the basic stuff we have, but eventually I'm gonna show you guys, because this transform here, as it says transform.forward, it's based on returns a normalized vector representing the blue axis of the transforming world space, right? Like next weekend, I'm gonna show you guys how to make your character rotate. So instead of going up and down with Q and E, we're gonna make the character rotate, right? Using Q and E, and then we're gonna make the player jump with space. Basically, we're gonna create like a platformer, I guess, like some kind of basic platformer. And I'm gonna show you guys how to make the player rotate. Yeah, exactly, tank controls. Like right now we're playing with tank controls, but eventually I'm gonna make it a proper thing, right? And yeah, so now I'm gonna do some very basic controls. Okay, so this here, like that. Okay, so if I remember correctly, so first we're gonna do another script. I'm just waiting for this to finish. Come on, there you go. There you go. Oh, okay, mono behavior script collision test. Okay. All right. So first of all, before we start working with the collision script, what I'm going to show you guys is the following. Hold on. Player object is going to be its scale is 0.5. Or actually, one. There you go. Okay. My home screen is, hold on. No. My home screen. Oh, well, it changed. Hold on. I'm going to show you. I have a thing that like alternates between desktop, like stuff like that, and you probably saw the Wonder Woman one. I have a shit ton. So where's Wonder Woman? It's W, so it's probably towards the end. Oh yeah, we're in F right now. There you go. It's that one. I don't know why I really like this poster. Yeah. Oy vey. Listen, I like women with pale skin and black hair. I can't help it, okay? It's just, I like it. And also skinny, so. Yeah. Anyways, so back to the topic at hand. Okay, yes. So I have this here now. Okay, so now in order to make collisions work, okay, what we need is two components. We already have one, which is the box collider. And long noses, no, I actually really don't like long noses. You failed us, right? Listen. My specific favorite kind are East Asian women, okay? Because in my opinion, they're the most attractive women, right? But if I can't get an East Asian woman, I'll settle for a white woman with pale skin and black hair. And Gal Gadot, I think she's pretty. Okay. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Anyways, back on topic. So as I was saying, here we need two components, right? Here we have the box collider and the mesh renderer. The mesh renderer is this is worse than Vosh. Wow. Wow, how dare you? Oh no. Anyways, so basically the mesh renderer is not one of the two components we need, but I'm gonna disable it because the mesh renderer is basically the visuals of the player object that we have here, right? So I'm gonna disable it here so that we can see these green lines over here represent the actual hitbox of the cube, right? So if I re-enable it, and here I go into the box collider and disable it, oh, all of a sudden the green lines disappeared, right? Basically, if I increase their size, right? So let's do 1.25, 1.25, oops, 1.25. See, now it's bigger, right? So now the hitbox is actually larger than the actual model itself, right? But let's put it back to normal, just for the sake of like consistency and stuff. And then right now I have a box collider, but it doesn't detect collisions, right? Why? Because I need something called a rigid body. And we don't do rigid body 2D, we do a normal rigid body. And now that I have this, when I press play, this thing is probably gonna fly through the screen. Like it's gonna fall forever. And the camera's gonna follow it, so we're gonna fall into the void. Oh, or not. Exactly. Okay. So it worked because of the plane, if I'm not mistaken. So if we click on the plane here, yeah, exactly. It has a mesh collider, right? Exactly. So hold on. Let's press play and go into the scene view, right here. See, there you go. Now we have proper physics that are working, right? And if we go back here, yeah, there you go. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Come on. Come on. Jesus. Yeah, well, there you go. It's as you can see, it's a little buggy, basically. But that's the idea, right? So now these basic physics work. Now here's the issue that we're having, okay? It's that these types of when here you can see is trigger is disabled, right? When is trigger is disabled, it means that it acts like a normal type of collision thing, okay? Basically, it's like this is the type of collision we're using for like rag dolls and stuff like that. As you saw, like it was very like simulated and everything, right? If, for instance, like a game like Overwatch, right? Which, let's take this, Overwatch, or Reinhardt Shield. So if you want to have a mechanic like Reinhardt's Shield, right, where friendly friendly projectiles go through it, but enemy projectiles don't go through it, what you want to use is a trigger collider, okay? So what trigger collider does, go through one another, but they still detect when they came in contact, right? So this is very useful when you're making games where like a friendly fire is off, right? That means you can shoot through your friends and it's not gonna kill them because the bullets are gonna detect that, oh, like I just collided with an object that's friendly, so I'm not gonna do anything to it. But then when it collides with an enemy, it's like, oh, this is an enemy, right? So like MOBAs, for instance, use that a lot, right? So what we're gonna do is, here I checked trigger, and now what this is gonna do is that now it's gonna fall through the world, right? See, now it just fell through the world, right? Why? Because now the plane isn't detecting it anymore, right? So let's just add the camera to our player object, right? Game, like that, and let's just put the camera a bit higher, maybe 2.5. Yeah, there you go. So now when I press play, we're gonna fall along with it, right? Whee! There you go. And I can still move. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna replay and I'm gonna press E to go up. Oh no, wait. Wait. I didn't do this properly. Because the player speed is still at 0. We're gonna put it at 5. Let's see how 5 works. So now I'm gonna spam E immediately to go upwards, right? From the start. See? Yeah, I'm still falling. So let's put it at 10. Okay. Come on. Are we falling? Are we moving? I don't know, right? Like we still fell through it, right? So yeah, so again, this is very basic. This is very, very raw and stuff, but this is the idea, right? And the reason why we're falling is that the rigid body has gravity enabled, right? So now if I disable gravity, see, now we're not falling anymore because now gravity is disabled, right? So typically when you make like a character, so for instance, like if we were to take oh fuck, okay, hold on. 18. Oh, ooh, this looks nice. Okay, hold on. All right. If we were to take God of War 2018, walk through, no commentary, whatever. Okay. All right, so let's go. I just want to show you guys something specific. Nope. Okay, hold on. Okay, it was like near the very beginning. Okay, perfect. So hold on. So now they're walking, right? The characters are walking and everything, but they're not like again, let's pretend that this game here is made in Unity, right? The way, like these characters don't have any actual physics gravity, right? Their hitboxes would be a mixture between, they would probably have multiple hitboxes, and one of the hitboxes that controls part of the movement is the one that prevents you from like walking through people, right? Walking through like your son or whatever, right? But either way, gravity would be disabled, right? So like here, let's say, okay, yeah, here they're going up the steps. This has nothing to do with gravity, right? Like gravity is disabled, and now here they're gonna jump. And now the reason why all of the jumps in this game were made using quick time events, okay, is because they're not using gravity, right? And if you notice, if you replay through this game, there isn't a single like proper like ramp or like I mean, like there are sort of ramps, like the stairs we just went through, but like that doesn't really count. Basically, it's like there's no real jumping, right? There's not a single instance of a mechanic that allows you to actually jump in the air, right? Unlike the original game. So let's say God of War 3 walkthrough. Whatever. Is there a segment? Okay, yeah. So here see, he can jump here, right? And so again, like the reason for that is that jumping is one of the most difficult things to make when it comes to player movement, to make it good, to make it proper. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me just check something. Okay. Yeah, exactly, right? So that's why like jumping is its own, basically like the movement mechanic from moving forward, backwards, stuff like that is very different the way you code it from the way you rotate your character, which is also very different from the way your character jumps, right? So that's why it's like we're gonna do all of these like one by one, because they're very different, right? And like they're very different, they're very unique in their own way, and whatever. So that's just to give you an idea. Okay, so now to do the final thing for today's stream, because we've almost been going like 3 hours. That's fucking crazy, right? But basically, again, we're not using gravity. Yeah, here it controls whether gravity affects this rigid body or not. And what we're gonna do, main camera is this, it's gonna be 1 again. Oh fuck, hold on. Like that. Actually no, we're gonna, or 0.25, let's say. Right, and then this here is going to be 3.5. Okay, there, yeah, that's good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, oh wait, hold on. Yeah, this is why I separated them, because it's, or actually, no, yeah, we're gonna do it like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now, here, if we move, there you go, we're moving normally. We can move up, down, whatever, right? Everything's fine. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the collision test and do like some really basic stuff, right? So as I said before, whenever we have a player manager, we have an instance of it, right? Like it's a singleton, so there's a single instance of it, right? So what we're gonna do here, okay, is go into collision test and just create a couple of variables. So as for accessing other script. We're gonna call it public integer number of collisions equals 0. Okay, there you go. And now here what I'm gonna do, and this is like the most basic way of doing collisions. Eventually I'm gonna show you guys like a fancier way of detecting collisions. But for now, I'm just gonna show this, right? And we're gonna do, this is its own function and it's gonna be called onTriggerEnter, okay? So yeah, number of collisions, there you go. So this basically automatically detects when a collider, so remember this thing here has a box collider, right? And here it has a rigid body or whatever. Well, if I create a new, like let's say a cube, right? Test collider. Oh fuck, hold on. Like that. Let's put it like that over here. 0.5 is trigger. And we must add the rigid body and we're gonna remove gravity, okay? And then we're gonna give it the collision test, right? Okay. So then what we're gonna do here is, what this does here is that it, even though it's not in the update, it's always happening because it's like its own special function that's been created. It's not a function we invented. It's a function like that comes with Unity, similar to like void start, void update, etc. And again, there's something here in the parentheses. It's basically like we have a collider, like a variable of type collider whose name is other, right? We can rename this to just other collider or whatever, just for it to be a bit clearer, right? And so increment number of collisions every time player object collides with this. Now I haven't done these collisions in a while. Let me just, I haven't done it in a long while. So let me just remember exactly how I did it. Like I almost remember exactly how I did it, but not 100%. Okay. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So we're gonna use tags, and again, this is like a super basic way of doing it. Okay, but basically we're just gonna put if other collider dot compare tag parentheses player, right? There you go. So what this means is if the other collider, so if the other, like the collider of the other object that comes in collision with this object, the object that this script is on, right? If it has a tag called player, do something, right? So in this case, number of collisions, yeah, plus plus. Number of collisions plus plus is the same as if I said number of collisions plus equals 1, right? I'm fairly certain, right? But for the sake of more control, we're gonna do it like that, because maybe I'm gonna do plus 2, right? I don't know, right? But for now, we're gonna do it like that. There you go. So number of collisions plus equals 1. Exactly. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back here. This one has the, I believe it has the test collider script. Yeah, there you go. We have the test collider script, and nothing's gonna happen, okay? When we're gonna go through it, it's not gonna increment, okay? So we're going here. See, it's not incrementing, right? And just to be sure, okay, hold on. No, not this. We're gonna go here. We're gonna copy this. Collision test, debug.log, number of collisions. So number of collisions. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So come on. There you go. Okay. So now, again, like if we were to go through it, nothing's gonna happen. Okay. What I need to do is like I can click any object, whatever, and here, like on the top right, underneath the name of whatever object it is that I've selected, whether it's test collider, player object, camera, whatever, there are tags, right? You can see the little tag thing, and here it says untagged. The main camera, it says main camera, etc. So what you're gonna do is just click here, add tag. Well, we already have a player tag actually, so that's perfect. So just select the player tag, and now it should work, right? Now we're gonna see here the number of collisions increment only when we're colliding, right? Oh, hold on. See, 1. And now if we go here, number of collisions 1. Number of collisions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., right? There you go, right? Bada bing, bada boom. That's easy. And now, basically, what you can do is start adding code like, hold on, let's go to player manager here. Player stats. Public int current player HP equals 0. Public int max player HP equals 0. And then here in void start, we're just gonna do current player HP equals max player HP. There you go. So set up the player's HP. Exactly, we're just gonna do damage to the player, right? And the way we're gonna do it is that this, let's pretend that this collision test is like a bullet or something, whatever. What we're gonna do is we need access to the player script, right? So variables for accessing, test vars, and here variables for accessing other scripts. Sorry, all we're gonna do here is, private player manager script. There you go. And then here, as I did previously, like right here, right here, the test.instance, we're gonna do player manager script equals player manager dot player manager instance, right? And now here what we're gonna do is, first of all, we're gonna do number of collisions, and then we're also gonna do player manager script dot player HP, and let's say minus equal number of collisions, right? So this is the idea of, like, let's pretend that number of collisions is actually the damage, and this is the HP. So number of collisions, and here we're gonna do another one that's gonna say damage for latest collision, right? Or actually, current player HP. And then here, we're gonna copy paste. Well, we're gonna replace this with player manager script current player HP. Bam. So now, again, everything should be good. All right. Okay. See? No, well, object reference not set to an instance of an object. Huh. Okay, interesting. So now it's not working. Let's see what it is. Collision test. Player manager script. Huh. Player. Okay, so I guess this didn't work properly. So what? See, this is how we solve bugs, basically. So player. Wait. Did I create? Yeah, okay, I created an instance of this. So it should be working. Here, I did this the exact same way. Yeah. So it's probably something to do with the other collider. Even number, okay. Huh. So what's the error that it's giving me? Reference object reference not set to an instance of an object. Test. Ah, okay, hold on. Maybe I might have to do it like the old-fashioned way. Yeah. Ugh. Okay, this is like suboptimal, but whatever. I think what I'm about to do might work, but okay. So, player manager script equals other collider dot component. Yeah, player manager. So let's see if now it works. Let's see if now it works. It should, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's try it out. Come on. No, okay, it's still bugging out. Okay, so why is that? This is untagged. It's a box collider. Yeah, this is all working as well. This is tagged really. It was working before. So maybe, right, player manager script, player manager. Or hold on. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so Admo. I don't know why it's not working here. But see, moments like these is when we're gonna use good old ChatGPT, right? And I'm going to ask it. We're gonna copy paste the code here. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna do this. See, it's moments like these where it's like, you know what? I don't have time to waste. Let's just let the AI figure it out. Okay, so I'm making a basic prototype in Unity. Hold on, I'm making a basic prototype in Unity 6. Call Game Sense. Okay, I'm making a basic prototype in Unity 6. I'm getting the following editor when I'm play mode in the Unity editor. And now we're gonna do this. Bada bing, bada boom. Like that. Like that. Here's the script in question. Here's the script in question. We're gonna do this. There you go. Like that. And now all we need to do is this. Okay, yeah, okay, that's okay. That's what I thought. This means player, yeah, is not at the time you're trying to access it, even though you do attempt to assign it with. Here's what's likely going on. Other Collider doesn't have a player manager component, even though it has the player tag. Oh, right. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Even though it has the player tag, it might not have the player manager script attached. So get player manager. Okay, yeah. So again, this is why like this old version of doing things, it's not like the best, but exactly. So other children. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically what's happening is that here my player, the player object is the thing that's colliding with this, right? With the collider, with the test collider or whatever. But the script itself is on this. So if I were to move like that, so basically to assign my script directly to my player object, okay? All right. See, now it's working. There, yeah. So again, this is why like this method works, but basically the way it has to work and the way I've always made it work, and today is like the first time that I tried to do it like this other way, this different way, right? It's precisely this, right? Well, actually, hold on, I removed this. Okay, we're gonna remove this line, right? Okay, hold on, no, exactly, because when I tried to fix it, I ended up creating another problem. Oh, hold on. Okay, let's see. Now it's probably gonna give me an error again. Probably. It's gonna give me an error. Yeah. Okay, so now it's okay. Hold on. Basically, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. It's because of this line here. There you go. Hold on. Hold on. We're gonna copy this. Here is the error. It's pretty much the same thing. We're just gonna copy paste it like that. Here's a breakdown based on okay, so what does it say? It's this line. Throws a null reference because script is null even though you're assigning in start. Okay, that assumes player is initialized correctly. If it's not, you'll get null. And then okay, so fix option 1. Check singleton initialization, public static, etc. If instance null. Okay, there you go. Right, because I forgot to put this. Yeah, this is also very important when you're making a singleton. This right here, we're gonna put it in void awake. Oops, god damn it. There you go, save. There you go. All right, okay, fix option 2, just get the component dynamically on. Yeah, so okay, so this here is what they're describing, right? it's this idea that basically, hold on, is that now that I have the player manager component on the actual object that's colliding, I can simply do the following, right? I can just do this right here. So yeah, so basically this right here, right? And it should work, right? Because it's gonna find like you saw it earlier, like it worked, right? But what I'm trying to do is make it without this, even though typically what you're gonna do is you're gonna do it this way, right? You're not gonna do it this way. I'm just being stubborn, right? Which is anyways, I'm a stubborn person, so you know. But hold on, there you go. Right, one is debug. Yeah, because maybe, hold on, what I'm gonna do actually, and again, like this is good because now I'm showing you guys how to debug stuff, right? How to fix problems, right? So let's say we're gonna do this right here, right? And we're gonna do a debug.log, and we're just gonna write down player manager initiated, let's say, right? So let's see, and we're putting this line after this one to see that, like, if this one doesn't work, then we're having a problem clearly with the void start. All right, come on. Oh, hold on. So let's see if it's gonna work. Okay, so this worked. So now let's see if it's properly initiated. Let's make it public. Public. Now let's see if it's gonna get initiated or not properly. All right. All right. So now here, no, it's in test collider here. Okay. None player manager. So now let's see if it's gonna get initialized. And I think this is gonna confirm what I think is the issue. Player out. Yeah, okay. So I know now what the issue is. I know why it didn't work initially. It's because we have to do it this way. We can't actually do it this way. Right here. There's no point in doing it this way here. Basically, when you're using this type of collision, because again, like this code, this specific way of colliding things, it's like the most basic way of doing collisions, right? I haven't used it like since I was prototyping the idea for my game, right? Like I haven't used it in like maybe 2 or 3 years, if I'm being frank, right? Because there are other ways that are like they're a bit more complex, but they're cooler, right? And they avoid problems that might arise from using this thing, right? Which the problem would be like, okay, well, what happens if 2 players collide with this at the same time? It can only actually reference one of them. And so when in edge cases like these, right, what ends up happening is that if you have basically if you have 2 colliders, 2 collision test objects hitting the same player at the same time, there's no issue. But if you have 2 players hitting the same collider at the same time, then there's a problem because it can only interact with one of them at a time, right? There are better, fancier ways of doing collisions which allow you to keep in mind, it allows the script to keep in mind every single object it has collided with every frame, right? And oh my god, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so when it's doing the, Jesus Christ, my brain just fucking died on itself. Holy shit. So what I was saying is like the trigger enters. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I remember now. So basically, the proper way of doing collisions, which I'm gonna show eventually, but for now, like this is more than enough. It's what's it called? It's it's basically you're gonna have to be using lists to add every frame, every single object that this collided with. Every frame is gonna be added or removed from a list, and then once it updates the list, it goes through each object in the list and like does damage or stuff like that, right? But again, that's a bit more complicated. It's for later on because it's gonna involve loops and stuff like that. I haven't shown you guys loops yet, but loops are really useful. And yeah, so to recap, I showed you guys how to make like singletons, how to make variables, how to do like the input system here and whatnot. I showed you guys how to do like the most basic collisions possible. And basically the idea is that whatever object collides with the object that has this script, right, is represented by other collider. And then we go other collider, we check to see if it has the right tag, and we do whatever it is, right? Let's say we want a tag that's gonna be like enemy 1, right? Or just enemy, I don't know. Or like actually projectile, right? Because let's pretend that this script is added to the player and whatnot. Here you can create a new tag. Once it's done loading, add tag plus, and then projectile, bada bing bada boom, and then we press play. Come on. Oh, Jesus. It's not detecting because I didn't change the fucking... There you go. So now you click here. Now the projectile tag is added to the list. Now you change the projectile tag, and now it's gonna work. See, a lot of problems oftentimes come from the people themselves, like from ourselves as users, because we're just forgetting a few steps. Like I remember I had a huge problem that I spent like a whole night trying to figure it out because like my unit's projectiles weren't connecting, and then I realized I just forgot to add a rigid body to them. See, there you go. Now it's working. Yeah, there you go. All right. There you go. So that's today's lesson. I hope it was useful. I'm gonna be honest, especially towards the end where like I started like bug fixing and everything. It probably got a bit sloppy, and I'm sorry for that. But yeah, as I said, like I haven't done this type of collision in a while, but it's the most basic type, right? And now I'm gonna, hold on, I'm just gonna set up I'm gonna just finish setting up the server, rules, delete, okay. Oh yeah, actually, okay, delete, yeah, no, back, delete. So default permissions, view channels, manage roles, create expressions, manage expressions, no, change nickname, members to invite new people to the server, no, manage nicknames, no, send messages in text channels, allows members send messages in the threads, allows links that members share embedded content in text channels, attach files, allows members to upload files, Add reactions, use external emoji, use external stickers. Yeah. Sure. Send text to speech messages. No. Connect, speak. Further video. Okay. Use soundboard. Sure. Use allows members to speak in voice channels by simply talking. If this permission is disabled, members. Okay. Alright. Okay, so let me just invite people. Oh, Jesus. Wait, how do I... Fuck. I will rewatch it later for more notes. Okay, perfect. It was very useful, thanks. Okay, thanks guys. I'm glad to hear it. Hold on. So how do I invite people? No, not hold on. Oh my god, like this is the thing. Like I barely use Discord. I only use it to chat with people. But not like I've never had my own edit invite link. What? Okay, generate a new link. Well, where's my link? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, there you go. Okay. So guys, let me know. What? Fuck's sake. Hold on. Hidden, use copy button. What? Bro, what the fuck is going on? Hold on. I invite people to my Discord server. To invite people, you can generate an invite link, open Discord, navigate to your click the invite people. Yes, which I did. Jesus Christ. Invite people. Okay. You can then either copy the invite link, but there's no fucking link. Okay. Edit invite link. Okay, is this? Nope. What? You can either copy the invite link to send to bro. Bro, this is the most scuffed end to a stream imaginable. Choose to invite specific friends from your friend list. No. Open your Discord application, go to the server. Right click on the server name. What? Invite people. Bruh. What is this? It's... fuck's sake. This is so annoying. This is so annoying. Okay, this is the getting started page, but I can't even invite people. It's not telling me how to fucking invite people, bro. Yeah, no, I know. Like, I know that typically you just send a link. The problem is that it's not giving me a fucking link. Right? Like, hold on. Like, I'm gonna show you. Hold on. Right, like, hold on. There. Oh, okay, there it is. Right, like, it's not showing me a link. Hidden, use copy button. But then when I click copy, it just copies this. What the hell is going on, bro? Why is it hidden? Or send a server invite link to a friend. What? Negating your access. I don't think you can share the link in YouTube chat, can you? Because he's the streamer, he should be able to paste the link in chat. Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm an admin, so like I don't... Hold on. Copy. Zeno, I know that I have you as a friend. Hold on. No, see? Like, what the fuck? No, but exactly. But like, I click, like, it's telling me like, edit invite link, no limit. Okay. Server link settings, generate new link, and it's the same thing. Like, nothing gets generated. What the fuck, bruh? Oh, okay. Test. Nope, still nothing. Okay, and how do I link? Forward to. Okay. So I forwarded it to you. Are you able to join now? Not looking good for a boy. Listen, everything's under control, okay? Chill. Try to make a community post, then post the link if you can't post it in chat. Yeah. Well, either way, when I'm probably gonna be streaming once in a while on my personal channel as well. Fuck's sake. Yeah, whenever I can, I'm gonna make a community post in this channel here, and I'm also like, the next time I stream on my personal channel, I'm gonna figure out how to do the fucking bruh. I'm so, this is so triggering because like, hold on, server boost, intro, authorized apps, profiles, mic. Hold on, let's go to the server. Let's go to this, accessibility, appearance. Let's just try one last thing, and if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna commit Sudoku. In real life. Content and social. What? Profiles. No, my account. No, authorized apps, connections. No, yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Call your Indian friend. You know what to do. Yeah. Anyways, it's not that big of a deal. I'm a bit mad because like I was hoping, I'd be able to allow you guys into the server, and like you'd be able to like start checking out the resources and everything. Obviously that's not gonna happen right now, but hopefully by next stream, I'm gonna figure it out, bro. As I said, I'm stubborn. Right now, I want to fix this issue. Right. This is the programmer's dilemma, right? Like the moment there's a bug, you're like, no. Like I need to fix the fucking bug. Right? Like, why is it not fucking working? Okay, hold on. Zeno, I'm friends with you on Discord, so I invited you directly. Okay, perfect. Now, it's still not letting me have a link. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Can you guys give me your Discord names? I'm just gonna add you manually because I mean there's like 3 or 4 of you here. So it's not like I have a fucking stream of like 100 people or whatever, you know? Here, can you bring me on a call or group chat? Might be able to do this. Okay, yeah. Give me a second. Oh, hello. Set the channel status. Where's no? Zeno, can you join the voice chat in the server? Yes, no, maybe. My Discord name is Russian to Die, and it's a picture of me with my hand to my chin. Alright. Alright. Like, we have to do this the manual way, bro. Today is like the ghetto stream. We're doing everything. We're doing everything. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Russian to Die. Oops. Russian to Die. Send friend request. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay. Okay, so let me... Server settings, roles, default permissions. Okay, view channels. Change nickname. Send messages. Send messages in thread. Embed links. Attach files. Blah blah blah. You do not have permission. Oh fuck! I think I know why. Okay, hold on. Edit channel. Permissions. Yeah. Okay, it's because the channels themselves have weird permissions. Yeah. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Create polls, send voice messages. No. Read message history. No, not manage threads. No, not manage. Mention. Use emoji. Add reactions. Attach files. Embed links. Create public. Send messages in threads. Send messages. Manage webhooks. Okay. Here, edit channel. Permissions. For everyone, view channel, send messages in threads, embed links, attach files, add reactions, use external emoji, yeah, so basically I'm gonna have to go through each channel manually. Yeah, okay. Bro, I'm so pissed because yesterday and especially this morning I was planning on like setting everything up in advance, but I ran out of time. I like woke up at like 10 in the morning. I was like, shit, right? So I ran out of time. I'm pissed about it, but it is what it is, right? Send voice messages. No, not voice messages because I don't want people reeing in my ears. Read message history. Okay, this should be good. Okay, and then probably same thing here. Permissions. View channel. Manage channel. Okay, so now I think you guys should be able to speak, connect.
Hello.
Hey. Hello.
Yep. All right. So I'm able to get in now. We got to figure out how the fuck to get the channel link in chat or at least copied.
Bro, this is so scuffed. Oh Jesus. Okay, hold on. Use soundboard. I'm just finishing to set up everything. Send messages. Add channels. Add links. Attach files. Add reactions. Use external emoji. Sticker. Mention at everyone. Read message history.
Here, I'm gonna see if I can maybe try to get to add a friend to ask someone. Okay, so I'm gonna try to see if maybe I can get a link on my behalf going then maybe.
Well, I disabled links from normal people. Only I can send links. The only reason I did
Oh,
that is because I don't want people to just randomly start adding their friends. It's like if you want to add someone, just let me know and I'll add them, or maybe I'll temporarily let you like have permission to. You know what I mean? Stuff like that,
yeah.
right? Just
Yeah,
to
I know.
keep
It's
things
cool. It's
simple.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we can't
Russian
have
to
any,
die.
dead domains getting in the chat now,
Well,
so.
for instance, or just like I don't want this to devolve into something where people are just adding, just hold on, where people are just adding anyone and everything, and like I want this to be related to two things: game development from you guys, right? Like for us to help each other. Like, by the way, I sent you an invite, Russian. I'm not sure if you got it. Let me know. But the idea is this server, it's twofold. Number one, it's for us to help each other in game development, right? Like if you guys have any questions, for us to share resources, maybe even look at each other's games, etc. And then the second purpose of the channel is whenever I'm working on stuff on my game, since it's my channel, right? I can
Yeah.
just send you guys like sneak peeks, like trailers in advance, stuff like that, right? So, okay, let me see if I can get. No, exactly. Like, it's still not giving me the fucking link. Okay, so Russian's here. That's perfect. Let me see. Windows settings, advanced. But it's like. Okay, let me
Yep. What's up,
just
Russian?
do this. I'm trying to invite my friends to my Discord server, but it's never giving me a link. Alright. How to create an invite link. Right click the server icon, left sidebar, click invite people. Okay. Invite people. A pop-up should appear with a link. If you don't see a link, here are some. You don't have permissions. You need to create. You need the create instant invite permission for the channel or server. Ask the server owner to give you that. Okay, well, hold on. Server settings. I think I need to give myself a role that's gonna allow me. So, alright, there we go. Got Emperor. Permissions. How do I do all permissions? Just all permissions. I think this should work. See, like it's so complicated for no reason. Back in the day, like when I started using Discord in like 2016, like you just click a button, there's a link, everything's done, it's easy. Maybe it's always been that way. I don't know, right? This is the first server I'm making, but
No, because I made a server way back in 2020, so I don't remember it being this complicated.
yeah. But I mean, this is the thing. Ironically enough, I'm someone who's working in video games, who's self-taught and everything. But believe me, I'm cursed. Whenever it comes to software and technology, it always bugs out on me. Every time. Every time. Like, it always bugs out on me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I get it. I get it. Shit like that happens with me all the fucking time, and I haven't even started the game development yet. So
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Manage members, add members. I'm gonna add myself. There you go. Okay. Now let's see. Invite people. No, there's still no link. What? Read? What the fuck, bro?
oh man,
What? Why? Why? Ooh, I'm getting tilted. How to make a new link? Okay. Hold on. You're trying from a private slash category channel. But what?
we're
Permissions.
just in general voice chat, so I don't know.
Private channel. By making a child private only, but it's not private.
What in the
Now
fucking
I'm gonna make it
hell?
private. Now I've made it public. Permissions not synced with text channel. Okay, sync now. Sync permissions. Would you like to sync general permissions with? Okay. Fuck. Oh. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Oh my god, this is so complicated. For no reason. Is there permissions? Access. People can join your server directly with an invite. Members must agree to rules. No. Okay, no other rules. Invites. Create invite link. No, it's still not letting me. I wanna commit seppuku in Minecraft. Server profile. Wait. Bruh. What the fuck is this? Roles. Okay, default permissions. Right? Okay, these are the default permissions for everybody. Right? Manage. Ugh. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to create a new role.
What the fuck? I didn't know this was Gmod roleplay here. What the fuck are we creating rules for? Did they really make it this complicated?
Bro, I have no idea. I don't get it.
I created some rinky dink server called the Religion of Keanu like 5 fucking years ago. What the fuck did they do?
I don't know, bro. Okay, hold on. So, uh, uh, there you go. We're just member. All right. View channels. Change nickname. Send messages in threads, embed links, attach files, add reactions, use external emoji, use external stickers, at everyone, read message history, send voice messages, sure, or no, fuck that, voice channels. Use soundboard, use external sounds, use voice members, deafened members. Apps permissions, use application commands, use activities. No. Okay. So now, wait, invite to certain. No, okay, apps. No. Change nickname. What? Add role member. Add role member. Okay, but again, this doesn't change the fact that, hold on. Edit category. Bro, permissions. Okay. View channels. Send messages in threads. Embed links, add reactions, external emoji, external sticker, add everyone, read message history, connect, speak, video, so members are recorded. Oh, okay. Hold on, mute member, no. Apps permissions. Okay.
Oh fuck.
So is it?
Oh no, I wasn't. I forgot I was on a channel. I just saw a fucking shitty ass news story. Tis all. I'm gonna start googling this because this is.
Bro, anyways, this makes no sense. I don't get it. It's not letting me. Yeah, I'm gonna make a fucking. I'm gonna try to figure this out eventually. I don't get it. Hold on. How to make a new link if you can. Okay. Discord bug or app glitch. Refresh Discord. Try closing and reopen. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna restart my Discord. Alright, there you go. Okay.
Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Hey, so I'm googling it right now. So you can create the the link. Yeah.
I didn't.
So you can create the link, and there's like additional settings to like expire and whatnot. So to create a Discord, put the desired text into square brackets and add the URL you want to link to in parentheses next to square brackets. This is the
Okay.
Copilot answer.
Hold on, because
So yeah,
because you know, there's the Discord. Yeah, there's the No, not this. No, continue to Discord. Okay, there it is. Okay, so fuck, bro. This is so basically you have to create the invite using the desktop app. Bruh. Okay. So now when I do invite. So you said edit invite link. Okay,
yeah,
hold on.
there's a custom link section in server settings. If you go into server settings, there should be a custom link section.
Server settings. Where is it? Server subscriptions, custom invites, maybe. Create invite link. Oh my god, bruh.
We
Hey,
did it.
there it is. Mamma mia.
This was all for 2 people. Still.
Okay, bro, I'm just modern gaming with a Y.
Yeah,
Modern.
yeah, I hear you, Red Herring. I haven't used Discord in years. I only just booted it up like a month ago to communicate with the Chud cells and whatnot.
Yeah, well, me personally, I only use Discord the same way I use any other social media like Facebook or whatever. It's just to connect people I know. Like I use it as a way to text people and maybe send them images or oftentimes to send myself files, right?
So
Bro,
that's why you sent me. So
this
that's why you
is
sent me several.
the
Christ.
last maybe hour of this stream has been the most scuffed hour of my life. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I've had worse. Believe it or not, I've had much worse.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can believe that.
Hold on. Okay, so let's close this. Let's close
And
this. All right. So now we're waiting on Red Herring to join. Also,
yeah.
I'm always like invisible on Discord just because I don't like getting spammed. But,
Oh, Moldy Crow
um,
got here. That's cool. Oh,
the
Red
what?
Herring's here too. Moldy Crow got in here.
Oh, nice. Amazing. Hold on. I'm going to give them member roles. Member roles are in brown because you all need to know your place. And God Emperor is in
Yeah.
white because, I mean, you know, let's be honest here. All right. Okay, so now I'm gonna start. Hold on, I'm just gonna close this. I'm gonna close this. Oh fuck. Hold on. Maybe I should have actually reopened it. Just cause. Hold on. I was. Third-party system. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Now I can close it. Okay. So. Yeah, I see Red Herring.
Yep, you just slid in the server there.
Yeah.
Here.
Are you able to see every? Well, you should be able to because you have the role, so you should be able to see everything. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So now I'm gonna show you guys some of the resources. Okay. This isn't important. Yeah. This is also not important. Okay. This is also not important anymore. Or actually, hold on. Yeah, we're gonna do this normally again. No.
Let's go. We got it. After hitting the computer screen with a wrench for fucking ever, we finally fucking did it.
Yeah. Fuck. Took us long enough. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Okay. So this guy here makes absolute banger tutorials. Now, not all of his tutorials are on YouTube. Here you have like some of the most basic ones, and I will be going through a lot of the same stuff he's doing. So honestly, like I'm just gonna be brutally honest. If you guys want the best type of explanation, like super quickly for like 15, 16 minutes, whatever, watch his shit. He is like a godsend. Like his stuff is incredibly good. So I'm gonna link this here in the game dev resources server, right?
Oh.
So let me know if it worked. And then this is his website where you have even more tutorials, right? And where he really goes even more in depth at explaining stuff, okay?
Yeah. What the
And
fuck?
like the tutorials are really nice. Like you have like the different things here, audio, blah blah blah. I still haven't even done audio ever. So when it comes to audio, I'm probably gonna base on his tutorials. The reason why I started doing my my live streams where I'm teaching people the basics of game development, it's because he is teaching for people who already know the basics I spent the last couple of weeks teaching you guys, right? Like how to create a script, how to even download Unity, like how to set everything up, right? Like he doesn't cover that stuff, and pretty much nobody covers that stuff, right? And this is, in my opinion, the biggest barrier to entry. And so that's why I showed you guys these things, so that now you're able to go through this guy's tutorials and you're able to understand what he's doing, right?
Yeah, right.
This was the idea behind that. And then the last thing is just the Unity scripting API, which is this here. Honestly, these three things are already like the best resources you can have.
Oh, this is the Unity thing to download it, right?
Which thing?
The Unity, because I forgot, I never downloaded it during the intro stream. Oh wait, no, this is just a reference.
Yeah. This is basically like the Wikipedia kind of thing, like the database that explains to you how everything works, how everything is done, etc., etc. You know?
Okay,
Yeah. And
got
here
it.
I have a bunch of pages open for stuff, right? Like here he shows, like here he shows how to move something, and here he shows the code. He specifies like, oh, this is like in world space or whatever, so this is how you do it. Like the translate, the transform.translate, that's for like, that's not in world space, that's in local space, you know, stuff like that. So it's really interesting, it's really good stuff that he does. Like his videos are so underrated, it's insane, right? And especially like the rotate video is amazing, right? And it's 16 minutes and it's super concise, it's super well explained and everything. It's honestly like, this guy is like a lifesaver. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to do any of my shit properly, you know? And so the goal with these streams is that eventually I'm gonna stop doing game dev streams, and I'm gonna transition to doing devlog streams where, like on Saturdays and Sundays, where I'm showing for like maybe an hour or two, like the latest thing I've done in my game, or maybe like a prototype I'm working on or stuff like that. And I was thinking, like, if all of us start like working on games, we can just show our stuff to one another. We can play test each other's games. Like it can be like a fun learning environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the idea. And also the cool thing here is that I guess in my live streams, like I can, like you guys can start joining the voice chat, and you can just ask me questions like on the fly, right? So that
Yeah.
can also help. So yeah.
Yeah. Man, I feel bad
So
because I because I haven't tuned in the past couple streams because I've been busy as fuck. So
no,
I
it's fine.
haven't even started work on the game I hyped up in Game Sense's stream. So
Yeah, but
for my
it's fine. It's fine. Like that's why I leave them as VODs, because the point is for people to be able to watch through these things and like look at everything, how it's done, how it's happening, etc., etc. And it's also better for people who watch on VODs because they don't have to listen to me ramble incessantly, right? They can just skip to the really important part and stuff, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's that's the idea. I think I'm gonna end the stream now because I'm gonna be really busy for the rest of the day. And tomorrow I'm not gonna, because tomorrow is Easter, so I'm not even gonna be home all day. So there's not gonna be a stream. But the next stream is once again gonna be next Saturday at noon Eastern, North American Eastern time, and same thing with the next Sunday, noon Eastern American time. And yeah. Anything else? Any questions? Comments?
I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna ask right now. I know you have it on VOD, but for Unity, which plan was it again that I should do the?
Yeah, let me show you right now. There's a bit of a delay on stream. So Google Unity. First link, it just brings you to Unity. Plans and pricing. You grab Unity Personal, not Unity Student. Grab Unity Personal here. It's free. And the way the monetization works, I'm not sure, but I know that for the first maybe 100,000 or $200,000 of profit your game makes, you can keep using Unity Personal. But then the moment your game starts making more than a certain amount of money, you need to pay like $200 a month for like basically for a license similar to like Photoshop or Adobe or something like that. But for us, we're just using Unity Personal. The idea, this is what everybody's doing, right? You're working on your game. Well, every solo developer is doing, right? You're working on your game using Unity Personal because it pretty much has everything you need, right? And then only when your game is ready and it starts making money, or if you want in advance, then you start, what's it called? You upgrade to like Unity Pro or Enterprise or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unity.
Yeah. But in our instance, it's Unity Personal, and yeah, that's the thing. Jesus Christ, bro! I've been yapping for almost 4 hours. It's crazy. And I still haven't shown you guys loops. I haven't shown you guys how to properly use lists and how to do other cool shit. But yeah.
Here we go. I think I found it. All right, Unity Personal. All right,
Yeah.
I did it.
If you look at my stream, is it the same thing as on my stream?
Yep, it looks like it. I was worried because I know there can be false links and whatnot. So I found it. So Personal, just download.
Yeah.
Download for Windows.
Exactly. And and then download Unity 6.0 because you have to download different types of editors. You can look back at my streams. I showed everything on like my first stream or whatever.
All right.
So yeah. So that's the idea. I think we're good to go. Honestly, thanks guys. Again, I'm still shocked that there are people actually watching me live.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank you. Thank you for spreading the technology, because if not, I would just be continuously playing Ninja Gaiden and punching holes in my walls, or God forbid, my computer screen. So
yeah,
just eating fried chicken and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's my pleasure, man. Like because basically I'm doing what I wish someone did for me, right? And I'm fully aware that like the way, like trust me, when you start watching game dev beginners videos, like his shit is next level. Like the way I explain things is so far beneath him. It's insane. But the thing is, we needed to get the basics right so that people understand how to use Unity, right? How to create a script, how to do the basics, how to add a component to an object, how to create a game object, what even is a game object, right? And then once we're there, now you guys can watch the real tutorials that are like way better than the shit I could ever make, right? And even if I was good at like editing videos or whatever, I wouldn't be able to make videos even half as good as his shit, right? So it's just really watch game dev beginner stuff, and my advice is start prototyping ideas. Just start making random bullshit just for you to get used to the scripting and stuff. And if you guys want, what we can do is that once you guys start having like different prototypes of ideas or whatever, or maybe even if you have bugs in your game, I can spend like a stream or two like debugging your games, right? Like giving you tips on like, oh, this mechanic that you tried to do, this is another way you could that I would make it that might be a bit easier or whatever, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So
yeah. So that's the plan. That's the idea. Uh, for the last time, thanks guys for coming. Just erase Wonder Woman from your drive. It's
yeah, you were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them there, Randy. What's up with that?
it's never, never. I look Jewish, and I have a Jewish name, so
Yeah, I
I pass. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm 10% Jewish myself, so
My parents keep calling me um, a Jew because I don't like to spend money.
yeah, yeah, me well, I mean I spend money, but I just do it on good deals and whatnot, so
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm joking. Gal Gadot is like is the exception, you know.
Hmm.
We all know we all would smash, but
No, but because basically this was back when like I've had this desktop background since BVS wallpapers, right?
yeah, that had been 2016.
Yeah, like almost a decade ago, right? And it
Yeah.
was when they had like these types of posters, right? And I remember hating every single one of them except the Wonder Woman one, right?
Hmm.
Like BVS Batman wallpaper, right?
Yeah. Well, she was like the one highlight of that movie, so I mean
Yeah.
she had the good music stinger, you know, with the guitar and whatnot,
Yeah, but
so
ever since then they've been reusing it so many times that it lost its appeal, you know? It's
yeah.
crazy. But
Uh,
I might stream tonight some more Hades 2. Uh,
all right.
but it's gonna be on my personal channel on That's a Random Name.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
don't look chat. It's exactly. Well, Hades 2 is very fucking woke, right? Let me just bring up. Uh, this is the thumbnail. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah.
What time did you say we were streaming Hades 2 again?
I'm not sure, but probably like at 9 or 10
All right, all right. I'll
tonight.
probably be there.
So
I'll
now
be
it's
there.
yeah, now it's forcing about 6 or 7 hours. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would stay up and watch these streams, but I take fucking Benadryl because I was cursed with sinus issues my entire existence.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've been resisting it though because I've been taking them fucking nightly. So it's lost its effect slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, so yeah, that's the stream. Thanks guys for attending, and I guess maybe see you guys tonight. The point of Hades is to vote on the boons, guys. Vote on the fucking boons that I'm using. God damn it! But when there's only red herring voting, it kind of defeats the purpose. Anyways, I'm gonna see you guys probably tonight. Take care.
Night.
All right, now let's end the stream. There you go. Take care.